Go to get your game on. Go for the beers. Go for the cheers. Go for the hit and the hits. Go for the stakes and the stakes. Go to get your parlay on. Go to get your party on. Go for the scene. Go for the screens. Go for the gallery. Go for the win. Go to Ocean. Visit theoceanac.com to plan your visit.
Philadelphia fans, we're cut from a different cloth. Born into a brotherhood and bonded to our team for life. We believe anything is possible because we've witnessed the impossible. While we may be from different neighborhoods, come Sunday, we are one, and we will be heard. Pondley Hockey, official partner of the Philadelphia Eagles.
Welcome in, everybody. Hanging out with you on this Thursday, Friday Eve. Busy day in Philadelphia sports, that's for sure. He's Derek Gunn. I'm Rob Ellis. We'll have Barrett a little bit later. What's going on, Gunner?
How you doing, Robbie E?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good.
You're smiling. You've recovered?
You know what, Derek? I'll say this. The whole notion of, oh my God, they were no hit.
Yeah.
First of all, unless it's one pitcher doing it, it loses a lot of significance for me. The group no-hitter doesn't, and I understand the historical perspective that it's a big deal in the postseason for people. I get that. I'm not downplaying that or discounting it. But so that's the first part. The second part is a loss in the postseason is a loss. It doesn't matter if you lose by 40 or you lose by 1 or you're no hit or you had 12 hits and you still lose. So I'm not like in the doldrums in terms of the fact that they were no hit. I think that part of it is over, being a little bit overblown in my opinion. I think it was a big loss in the series. I think you needed Aaron Nola to show up last night.
Dude, that's 3 in a row.
Yeah. And the biggest concern I have here is your big guns, your 2 big guns have hit a wall and your 2 big guns may potentially be cooked.
And the more we think about it, the more I believe there's something going on with Wheeler's throwing arm or whatever, and I'm listening to sports talk radio here in the morning. I'm flipping back and forth and they're talking about how, maybe they have tired arms. Did Houston's pitchers look like they had tired arms last night?
No.
And I'm thinking, I get that because throughout my following and playing of baseball, that is a term that I've heard quite a bit. When you play that many games, especially when you're number 1 or number 2 starter and you make it through the season, I get that there is a fatigue factor involved somewhere. You do hit that proverbial wall somewhere. But this is the rarest of rare opportunities to step on the biggest platform in all of your sport. There's something that you have to draw from within that gives you an extra level of adrenaline to get through whatever little aches and pains that you have. It's like those who get to play the Super Bowl, NBA championship, Stanley Cup, whatever the case may be. If it's revealed after this series that both Nola and Wheeler had, I don't want to say dead arms, but less than stellar arms, then I have to say, well, who's the trainer? Who's preparing them for these games? Because I'm looking at that other team, man, they throwing smoke. Mm-hmm. And, go back to what you said initially. A no-hitter in any form is demoralizing to the opposition enough. I think it's more demoralizing when it's a collection of pitchers more so than just one pitcher going from start to finish.
Yeah,
because,
you know what I mean? If one guy's on fire, you just can't figure him out. No, I get that. No, I totally hear you cover. I want to circle back to your point you just made. I think the other thing is, Derek, this Houston team has been there, done this in terms of getting deep into the postseason. And I think maybe they are stretched out, lengthened a little bit more. Whereas the Phillies, it was just kind of like, unloading everything just to get here. And Hey, look, maybe miraculously that extra day rest, and we're getting ahead of ourselves. We're not even talking about tonight, but that extra day rest will serve Wheeler well, and all of a sudden he'll look like the Wheeler we've seen almost his whole career with the Phillies. If that's the case, they absolutely have a puncher's chance. There's no doubt.
No question.
The problem is now you're counting on Syndergaard in a bullpen game tonight against some bats that woke up a little bit last night. Even though it was only one inning, they still dropped a 5 spot in that inning. They woke up a little bit, and I don't know how Verlander responds. Like, I don't know if this is just a thing for Verlander where he just it's the World Series is in his head, or now it's like, I'm putting that thing to bed that I can't deliver in World Series games. It's hard to figure out what Verlander you're going to get.
No, I saw a quote from him yesterday when he was talking to the media when he said, "I noticed some things in my mechanics from my last outing that I'm going to work on. But at this point, you just have to go with what gets you through." If I'm Dusty Baker tonight, Verlander, because of his history and what he did his first outing, I'm going in thinking, I need 3 innings out of you. That's all I need is 3 innings. If you give me 3 innings, because the first 3 innings he pitched, he was dealing.
Yeah.
The last game. All of a sudden the bottom fell out. So I need you for 3 solid innings. If I get a 4th out of you, a plus. If I get a 5th out of you, that's even better considering the bullpen we have here. But I'm looking at 3 innings max. If we can just get you to focus and give us those 3 innings you gave us the first time you pitched, we're all right. Now, when you mentioned a Noah Syndergaard bullpen game for the Phillies, I cringed just a little bit when you said in a bullpen game. But then I caught myself because I said, wait a minute. This Phillies bullpen has been pretty good.
Awesome.
Been pretty doggone good, you know. So, I'm not as worried. I mean, even the guys that you didn't want to see in there. I mean, Gibson got in there. Mm-hmm. Hand's been in there twice now.
Yeah.
He's pitched well.
Yeah.
So,
no, you're right. And I give them all the credit in the world. They've been awesome. I just wonder how many times you keep going to that well, man. It doesn't run dry at any point. Man. And it kind of feels like, I don't know, where you're just like pushing your luck a little bit. But yeah, I mean, look, and let's face it too. They got to swing the bats, man. They got to hit, and I thought, Derek, the approach last night, maybe some of this is based off the night before. You hit 5 home runs. You're feeling good about yourselves, as you should be. But they swung from their heels, man. And look, that dude was dealing last night. Javier was dealing. Okay, I'm taking nothing away from him. But I thought their approach wasn't good either.
The one thing that's always fascinated me about the dynamics of pitching and hitting, the combination of pitching and hitting. When the Phillies face pitchers who are throwing 97, 98, that's right where they want them. They're tattooing them. Javier's fastball never got above 94. And he was throwing something right down the middle.
Yep.
He only has 2 pitches, a slider and a fastball. A lot of these other fastball pitchers, they have that curveball, they have that sinker, they have that change. And Phillies are on them. They're on them, just like they were 2 nights ago.
Wow. Yeah.
And I'm thinking, but this dude, Javier, man, you talk about just why, me, Rob, I say this all the time. I much rather watch a pitching duel than a 10-9 softball game, 7-5 softball game.
Same. I'm the same way. You and I are in the same boat. Yep.
And even though he was pitching for the opposition, I was just fascinated by his control. The dude, they only got 2 men on base the whole night.
Crazy.
2 men.
Crazy.
2 men on base.
Yeah.
So we've watched Houston, 2 of Houston's pitchers. It's really scary. Valdez and now Javier throw lights out against this Phillies heavy hitting arsenal. And it comes down, all hands on deck. So they're going to be in the 7th game somewhere.
Oh, 100%.
You're going to see him again.
They got him out early enough last night where you'll see him in game 7. I can promise you that.
I'm telling you. If there's a game 7, they don't even have to get to McCullers and all these dudes.
No, he's done. You won't see him again. No, you won't see him again. No, but you're right. I mean, how the heck? Here's what I'm trying to figure out. That dude doesn't pitch till game 4.
Exactly.
The guy they rolled out last night.
Exactly.
Either look, they're crazy deep at pitching. I get it, both starters and bullpen, but I'm thinking this guy should have went a little bit earlier, man. If I'm a Houston fan, but who knows?
It's imperative the Phillies win this game tonight, because if they don't, then you're facing Valdez on Friday or Saturday?
You're going to face Valdez on
Saturday.
Saturday.
So they get up because of the rain. They get off Friday, right? Travel day is Friday.
The Friday's travel day. Yeah, there is
Okay,
no.
so
There
it
aren't
goes
any
Saturday,
games
Sunday.
tomorrow.
Okay.
Yep.
So, dude, do you want to see Valdez again after what you saw the first time?
Hell no.
Do you-
No. No. No, thank you.
So you know what? As I've watched
Houston
this World
hasn't
Series-
made it official, but we know what's coming.
Right.
We know who it's going to be.
So as I've watched this World Series, in a lot of ways, you, my friend, have tainted the way I've watched these games because every time something happens, I'm thinking, oh man, what's Rob doing right now? That's what I'm thinking. So with that said, and I'm going to sit back and listen. I want you to take me through your mindset as you watch this game unfold last night. Javier comes out dealing. He's going. They can't catch up, so on and so forth. Alvarado comes in, first pitch, boom. So I want you to take me through your mindset. And I want you to end it by telling me, at what point did you feel, doggone it, this team might get no hit tonight?
All right. So I did not. Let me start with the Nola part of it when he started to implode in that inning. I didn't have a problem with Thompson pulling him. I thought he was clearly starting to get hit. Like they started to have his number. He was out of gas. He was just basically those curveballs are just being, kind of rolled over and lobbed up there. Right. So he brings Alvarado in, which he's done successfully a ton. Unfortunately, Alvarado with no wiggle room and no landing, under the tightrope, hits a guy. And then you're thinking, all right, this is bad. It's going to be real bad. And then he leaves an 0-2 out over the plate for Bregman, who just crushes one into the right field seat. So I think Thompson did the right thing. It just didn't work out. I don't blame the manager. I blame Nola for not being able for that happening, for it even getting to that point. The way that Javier was pitching last night, honestly, Derek, I wasn't thinking no hit, but I was thinking this doesn't feel like a comeback game to me. Game one, you felt like they had a shot to come back. You felt like they were going to be okay. I didn't feel that way. I felt like this guy had their number. Verlander,
at what point did you feel that way last night?
By like the fourth or fifth. I really thought they were in trouble. Like even when it was 0-0 before the Phillies came unglued in that inning, more Nola and Alvarado before they came unglued, I felt like this is trouble tonight. Like this is it because two things. One, he was that good, and two, their approach stunk. Like I can't tell you how many times they swung from their heels. They weren't tightening up with 2 strikes. They were chasing bad pitches. I'll tell you a guy, and we get into this later, who we're not talking about enough that has been awful in this World Series. Gene Segura has stunk in this World Series.
At the plate, yes.
He's 1 for 14 with 3 strikes. He swings at everything. And again, he's saved their bacon a ton, but Castellanos is almost an automatic out at the plate. And they know not to throw him a strike. He's got his mind made up. I'm swinging first pitch, no matter where it is. And
get off my boy Castellanos.
I'm just saying, man, you can't have that. Look, it's a 3-game series. Here's the way you look at it if you're the Phillies. It's a 3-game series. We get this one here tonight. We just need 1 back there. We go back there, we need 1. Somehow, some way, we need 1. And that's a good mindset, I think, to have. I will say this, and I don't think this was just bravado in front of the cameras. And I watched a lot of the post-game stuff. And I think Schwarber took the lead, but there were other guys. Bohm was good with this too.
Right.
They were like, this was them. I'm paraphrasing. They're like, we don't care that we got no hit. We don't. We care we lost, but we know we're playing tomorrow. That's like, right. It's just a loss. It's not a no hit. It doesn't carry over tomorrow night. So I think, and the other thing that Thompson did that was brilliant, as soon as he walked into the clubhouse to address them, Derek, he said to them, do you guys remember back on April 29th? You know what happened? We got no hit. You know what happened the next day? We won.
That's right.
Okay. That to me, that's where the manager is on top of things.
That's
and it's just from a psyche standpoint. So didn't think no hit until real late in this thing. I still thought they'd scratch out a couple hits and it would be meaningless, but I thought they were in big trouble in the game.
When you bring in relievers and Houston's collection of relievers has been phenomenal. You're always thinking it's going to take a couple of pitches or a certain amount of pitches for them to get in a groove. Their pitchers came out smoking right from when you start bringing out the type of pitchers, the collection of pitchers they have, they all have a different array of pitchers. They all had command last night. Mm-hmm. What they didn't have the night before, they all had last night. This is one of the most fascinating. One team wins 7-0. You're not supposed to win 7-0 in a World Series.
Right.
You're not supposed to win 5-0 in a World Series.
No, you're not. No.
You know what I'm saying? It has been one of the most unusual World Series I've seen in quite some time. But we've seen twice now how stellar pitching can handcuff power hitting teams. And I go back to a series I covered in '82, the Brewers against the Cardinals.
Great
and
series.
They had Harvey's wall bangers. And that game went to 7. Everybody knew. I mean, they had 4 guys that hit over 30 home runs that year, you know. And everybody's thinking they're going to smoke the Cardinals. Cardinals win the series in 7 games.
Yeah.
Because pitching. They had a little bit more pitching than the Brewers did. And I'm looking at this, and there's no question, when you talk about a power surge, the Phillies definitely have more of a power surge. What do they have, like 17 postseason home runs? Something like that, 18?
Yeah.
They definitely have more of a power surge from top to bottom than Houston does.
They do. Yeah,
But
they do.
stellar pitching has reared its ugly head as far as the Phillies are concerned twice in this series. And that's why I'm saying Verlander, there's a psyche involved in this game tonight now because Verlander knows it. Everybody's talked about it. Everybody's written about it. This man is not the same pitcher when it comes to the World Series. Now, he's a proven vet, highly decorated vet, been to World Series games before. Everything that he needs is right in front of him now because I think there's more pressure now on the Phillies than there is on Houston. Last night, there was more pressure on Houston. Tonight, there's more pressure on the Phillies and Verlander. So it's Verlander's pressure versus the Phillies' pressure. Which one will handle that pressure the best?
Well, I think here's something really specific for tonight to watch. Now, I hope the Phillies jump on them right away and, they have 2-3 runs in the first couple innings. I hope that's the case. If it's not, it's going to be really fascinating to see what happens second time around with Verlander because that's where the Phillies really started to get to him in the last game that he pitched. Like he looked real good early, but then slowly but surely you started to see a kind of unravel when they saw him a second time. So that's going to be really key to me tonight, around the 3rd inning when these guys start to come back around here, if they don't jump on him early.
Right.
That's going to be huge. But Derek, I mean, the cold hard truth of this is the Astros are a better team. They have better pitching. I mean, I don't know if they're offensively, I think they're pretty comparable, the two teams.
Yes.
But the Astros have better pitching. They have a better starting staff and they have a better bullpen.
Yes.
And the Phillies are piecemealing this thing with really 3 starters.
Yes.
The problem, there's 2 major issues there. One, the first 2 guys look like they're leaking oil. The only guy who looks good is Suarez out of that group, right?
Yeah.
Then the other issue is tonight. Like you're going to have to sort of on a wing and a prayer hope that Syndergaard's decent. And then the bullpen continue. And you rightfully so point out the pen's been awesome. They got to keep that going. But can you do this for 7 games or whatever this turns out to be, 6 games? It's hard. It's a hard way to live. It's not impossible. We've seen this. They've won 2 games and they're great at home. This is the first home loss they had in the playoffs. If you get this and you go back 3-2, you just say to yourself again, all right, it's 2 games there. We just need 1, guys. That's all we need to do.
That's all you do. Yep.
So I think that mindset's a good one. I really do. If you're the Phillies, it's easier said than done. This is going to be, it's going to be tough, man. They need it last night. They needed good Nola and they needed to win that game last night. This is they've made it difficult on themselves for sure.
And I think the catch by Castellanos in that first game is even more magnified now because they could be down 3-1 at this point instead of 2-2. But I don't know where Nola's head is right now. I mean, because that's 3 consecutive bad outings in postseason, not regular season, postseason. Yeah. And as I said yesterday, he's always had this tendency to fade in September when you look at him historically. And lo and behold, he rose to the occasion and pinched the gem to clinch in September. But all of a sudden, he has not been the same pitcher in the postseason. And is it arm fatigue? Is it placement? Is it everything above? Is it just the case that Houston's done their homework on what he likes to do, and they know the one thing that Houston has done this entire series that has helped Phillies pitching is they're attacking pitches early. They don't sit back and wait. No. They come out swinging, and all of a sudden Phillies get out of an inning, pitcher at 8 pitches, 9 pitches, 12 pitches. The opposition pitcher, 22 pitches, 23 pitches. So they've had that advantage, and I fully expect them to come out swinging tonight against Syndergaard. If they get to Syndergaard early.
Oh, I agree. Look, the one thing, so there's 2 things also about the Phillies sort of big picture here. Like, they've had these kind of losses before, and they have almost invariably bounced back the next game.
Yep.
They've shown a lot of fight as far as that goes. And this year's been so weird and so improbable. Firing the manager, losing Harper for 2 months, losing Segura for 2 months, having Wheeler shut down for a month towards the end of the year. All of that. Eflin. Having gone through all that to be where they are, like they're used to it. Like it's not as easy as we all thought it was going to be when they won that game 3.
Right.
So you kind of have to sort of expect this as a Phillies fan or somebody who's followed this team, that you were going to have some. It's not bad enough you lose and you get no hit. Like it's just like, and then everybody sort of writes them off, or everybody's really nervous, and then all of a sudden they fight back and they get it tonight. Yes. So this would kind of be their MO, to fight back and win tonight. I will just say that.
I agree. I hope that's the course, because if they lose this one tonight, I don't think they win it in Houston, to be honest.
I don't either. I think this is as must win as it gets tonight.
Yeah. And you always say, well, when you get to a World Series or a 7-game championship series in the NBA, every game's a must game because you're trying to get to 4 before the opposition.
Yeah.
Those words, must win, are imperative in this game tonight for the Phillies. Yeah, imperative, especially with that guy Valdez waiting in the wing on Saturday.
Well, I'll tell you the other thing that I thought Javier did. He was just great all around. But the thing that he did early, too, was he worked them inside. He kind of established the inside part of the plate on some of the lefties. He just went to everybody's kryptonite. Like Harper, the one thing he doesn't do particularly well is hit high pitches.
Right.
And he worked him high. He was just really smart and poised, man. I mean, you would have never known he was on that big stage. He was just ready to go. He was great.
Is for as much offensive prowess as the Phillies had, I thought when I watched them, everybody's swinging for the fence. Are they taking the same approach they took the night before? It wasn't like they were trying to contact hit. Everybody's swinging for the fence, hacking. And you're over swinging,
just hacking.
You're just hacking away, and all of a sudden, it's 7th inning no hitter, 8th inning no hitter. And by that time, they're bringing in another pitcher. They're bringing in another pitcher. Mm-hmm. So even if you don't get settled in on one at that point. And because the guys that keep bringing in 97, 98, 96, 97, your timing's off. It takes you at least one time around to get that timing down. They didn't have that luxury because of what Javier did for the first 6 innings.
Exactly right. You're exactly right. And the thing that frustrates me that I just don't get sometimes about major leaguers, it's not just the Phillies, but like how they or the pitching coach, or the hitting coach or the manager doesn't recognize that, guys, the approach is not working. Like you got to make this guy throw strikes.
Yep.
You got to shorten up a little bit. This is about contact. We got to start getting something going. We're getting nothing going. Let's play a little small ball. Let's try and draw a walk. Let's try and put the ball in play, whatever. And they just keep going about it the same way. And maybe that's just kind of who the Phillies are personality wise. I don't know, but it was frustrating for sure.
For me, I had a bad feeling. It was, like I said, I was highly entertained watching these pitchers go at it, until even with the bases loaded out, I'm thinking, okay, Houston's going to get at least one run. Yep. But when Alvarado hit Alvarez on the very first pitch, I said, this is bad. This is bad. And sure enough, 0-2 pitch, 1-2 pitch, boom, boom, boom. They're spraying them left and right.
Yeah.
And the pitch that who was it? Who went down in the dirt basically to get that pitch and send it to left field.
Unbelievable. Yeah, it was unbelievable.
Gurriel. He went down and took it off the top of the dirt and slapped it to left field. Yeah. And I'm like, my good, you know what? But that's baseball. When it rains, it pours.
And that's when you kind of knew, like you already knew at that point it wasn't their night. But yeah, and the Phillies pitchers can't make these 0-2 mistakes. It's one of the things Nola has it's really bit him the entire year when he struggled. It was a lot of either 0-2, 1-2 ahead in the count, and you throw a cookie there, and then it just gets crushed. Alvarado did that with, like I said, with Bregman.
Yeah. And
that was it. I honestly, man, after that fifth, I'm like, I know a lot of people started, I saw on social media, they're like, plenty of time. And they're right. There was plenty of time, but I just didn't feel in that game, just didn't feel like their night. It really did.
I found it interesting that through 4 games, the games that they've scored in, Houston has scored 5 runs in every game.
Yes.
They lost 6-5, they won 5-2, and then they went 5-0.
Yeah.
And then they got shut out, obviously, on Tuesday. But every game, they can't get past 5. And they're not a team that spreads it out. They'll hit sporadically. But in terms of scoring runs, you look at how they score. They've all scored them in bunches.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, the bats, I mean, they still get a sporadic hit here or there, but they don't produce any more run-scoring hits. So it's like they get their hits in bunches. They play great defense. They're a great defensive team.
Yeah.
And then they rely on the pitching. They take them the rest of the way.
Well, the other thing is the Phillies have trailed, and you forget this because they came back and won game 1, but they've trailed 5-0 in 3 out of the 4 games.
That's right. That's unbelievable.
Like that's
unbelievable.
And you're sitting here 2-2. So part of you says, all right, Phillies have great resiliency. Nothing matters. They're going to fight back. And the other part says, are they a little fortunate to be in the spot that they're in? Now, look, they kicked the Astros' butt in game 3,
right?
But I don't know. Game 1, I don't want to take anything away from the Phillies, but was it kind of a miracle they came back in game 1? These are all the thoughts that sort of run through your head here, when you're trying to analyze what's going on with the series.
I don't want to say miracle, but I tell you what, they had baseball guys from a heaven on their side. Castellano, I can't emphasize that enough. Castellano, if that ball gets under his glove, game's over.
It's over.
Game's over.
Yeah, there's
and
lot.
They're down 3-1.
Yeah. There's a lot that had to happen in that game, right? And they created their own breaks and their own success. But there was a lot that had to happen. You just wonder how much more of that is left. How many more of those kind of fight from behind sort of miracle type of games.
Mm-hmm.
But again, I think if I said to you before the series started, okay, series would be 2-2. They still have a home game to play against the Astros before it started. I think most people would probably say, all right, I'll take it. Not too bad.
I'll take that. No question about it.
It's just
considering Houston is a heavy favorite coming into the series, I'll take that.
Well, the other thing I'll say is too, and this is credit to Houston, they got bludgeoned in game 3.
Yeah, they did.
They didn't bat an eye. They just moved on, man.
Yeah.
And I think the Phillies can absolutely take that same approach. Like, I really don't believe, Derek, one thing I don't believe is tonight that they're going to be out there like, oh my God, we got no hit last night. I don't think that's going to be what they're doing. Yeah.
Yeah, from a fan perspective, and I'm one of many saying, oh my goodness, we're sending Syndergaard out there tonight. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but then again, I'm with you. That scares me. But the one opportunity he got to start, he was decent. Not great, but decent. Right. And as you pointed out, as much as we sit there and we're biting our nails with the bullpen's been excellent.
I can't emphasize that enough. Yeah. Everybody who's come in, except for Alvarado last night, everybody who's come in has done a job.
Yeah.
Done the job.
For sure. I agree with you. I think we need to sort of like maybe put that to rest until they prove otherwise that they can't handle, because they have done a really good job. So this is kind of where you are. I think you have the perfect manager for this, where he is just like, forget it, flat line. Nobody's flipping tables or panicking in there.
No, but my two biggest concerns is your number 1 and number 2 pitchers have not held up their end of the bargain for the Phillies. That is a major concern. Bigger than Syndergaard pitching tonight. That's a major concern for me.
It is. I mean, because you one way or the other, whether you win or lose tonight, you're going to absolutely unequivocally need him to be good.
Yes.
Saturday. I mean, with plenty of rest, and it just feels like something's wrong with him. And I don't know. Again, it might be just they're both tired, whatever. But this is it. You got to empty the tank. There is no tomorrow. He knows he's not pitching again after Saturday. That's it.
But like I said, how are they tired when the other team's pitchers aren't tired? How are they tired? Yeah. How's that possible?
It's a very fair question to ask. And then if you hope to be this team where you're perennially in the postseason, how do you fix this where these guys aren't dragging it? But it's going to use another word here at the end of the season.
Don't do it.
Yes. All right. So we'll come back. We do have an interesting night, Derek, at hand here, because we have both the Phillies playing in this big game, and we have the Eagles playing the Texans. And
How soon you forget?
I know, right? Oh, it's gonna be a long night. But we'll get to this because we have some interesting status updates on the Texans team that already has some offensive issues, to say they're challenged offensively, to say the least. So we will dive into that as well. We got a lot more in store. 1:30, Sheil Kapadia from The Ringer. Looking forward to talking to you. Sheil's covering he's both the Phillies and the Eagles here. He's towing everything.
He's something else.
Yeah. We're looking forward to that. We'll talk to Sheil coming up at 1:30. So Barry will be hopping on at 1 as well. So we've got a lot in store. Don't go anywhere. We'll come back. We'll do a little mix and match with the Phillies and the Eagles. We are Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. Derek, Barrett, let's talk about Jim Murray and Principal Financial Group, because I can tell you from personal experience, it took me a long time to find the right person to trust with my finances and with my future. And Jim Murray and Principal Financial Group are those people, whether it's retirement planning, 401k review, insurance review. If you have a small business and you need help with your employee benefits, it's another resource that Jim can help you with. I personally entrusted him with my IRA, my 401k rollovers, and I couldn't be any happier. You will be too. Just give him a call. You have some questions, he can answer them, get a feel for everything. He's great with that. 610-996-4751, 610-996-4751, or you can email him, Murray, MURRAY, .jim@principal.com. That's murray.jim@principal.com.
Go to get your game on. Go for the beers. Go for the cheers. Go for the hit and the hits. Go for the stakes and the stakes. Go to get your parlay on. Go to get your party on. Go for the scene. Go for the screens. Go for the gallery. Go for the win. Go to Ocean. Visit theoceanac.com to plan your visit.
Since 1977 at Rafferty Subaru, we have always been about our customers and the community. Early on, a safe and durable option, we've evolved to become the best overall brand according to Kelley Blue Book. Over the last 14 years, we've donated thousands of dollars through the Subaru Share the Love event and found homes for hundreds of pets. The Rafferty family is proud of our 45 years in business. This month, celebrate our anniversary with special financing on select models. Visit us and see why.
The greatest fans on earth. It's a bold statement, but would you expect anything less from Philadelphia? 58 years of heartache creates a toughness, a grit, a resolve not found in most. Sure, our prayers were answered, but now that we've had a taste, we're looking for more. Pondley Hockey, official partner of the Philadelphia Eagles.
Welcome to Pondley Hockey. We've helped over 100,000 injured and disabled workers obtain benefits, as well as some of the biggest settlements in the state. If you've been injured at work, give Pondley Hockey a call.
Philly sports fans, I'm Tom Giordano from Pondley Hockey Giordano. First and foremost, thank you for watching the Pondley Hockey postgame show. But right now, we're giving away tickets to the World Series. Follow Pondley Hockey on Instagram and check out our posts for your chance to win tickets to all 3 Phillies home games. Go Phillies and go Birds.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back in Sports Day. Derek, Rob, we are hanging out. We're going to have Barrett join us in a little bit. All right, so we both have unique nights in front of us, Derek, to say the least. You'll be doing pre and post for JAKIB Media, of course.
Yep, in Atlantic City. Yep, leaving here, leaving my home, head to AC.
Absolutely,
a little amount of time. Yeah. So
looking forward to that, first of all. And you guys do an awesome job. And it's, post game yourself, Mike Missinelli, Seth, Devin Caney. Pre-game is yourself, Mark Farzetta, and Mike.
Seth. Yep.
Seth.
Yep.
Just Seth. Sorry. So busy night for you. How will you? Let me ask you, because I'll pose this to our folks in the chat section as well. If you want to jump in, let us know. How are you going to be viewing things tonight? Because obviously for you and I'll be doing the post game for WIP, but we both have to be hyper focused on the Eagles because, we're breaking everything down.
Absolutely.
But, I mean, truth of the matter is we're going to at least have one eye on what's happening with the Phillies too. So how will you kind of parse it all out tonight?
Well, we have a private green room that we watch the game from, and there's 2 big screen TVs in there. So hopefully we'll have one on the Eagles. Normally we have both on the Eagles game, so we can watch both TVs. We'll have one on the Eagles game, and hopefully have one on the Phillies as well,
right,
from up there. Then when it gets to about the 2-minute warning of the game, we head downstairs for the post game to get in our chairs and get ready. And behind us, as you know, because you've been there, we've done sports take from there. They have their brand new Galleria there, and they have like 23 big monitors, all around. So I'll be able to keep half an eye on what's going on as well. And we have with that during the 2-hour post game show. But by then, that Phillies game should be over because let's see, the Eagles play at what, 8:15?
Yeah, the Phillies are like 8:03, and the Eagles are what I always forget, 8:20 those games go off, whatever it is, something like that.
So game ends at like 11:30.
It's going to be close.
Yeah, they are. They're going to be real close.
I mean, you hope. Again, this is where you get yourself in trouble because they are an NFL team, but you hope the Eagles can kind of get out to a nice lead.
Yeah.
Maybe the fourth quarter, you don't have to be quite as locked in, if you know what I'm saying. And if the Phillies game's tight, you can kind of keep an eye on that as well.
Well, like I said, jokingly, this game might be over by halftime. I mean, this is a Houston team that's worse than a Steelers team, and Houston has some talent, but it's not enough. And that's the reason why they're 1-5-1 right now.
Yep.
To me, they are the worst team in the NFL. There's, bar none. They have a backup starting as a quarterback. They have a decent running back. Offensive line's terrible. Defensive line's terrible. Run defense is terrible. They can't run the football. I'll be nodding off by halftime. I'll be.
Well,
what's the score? 40-0. All right, call me when it's over.
All right, well, we'll get into this more in a little bit, but just 2 things to pass along too. As bad as this Houston offense is, Gunnar, they're without Brandon Cooks tonight and Nico Collins. You're talking about hands down your 2 best receivers. Like, Davis Mills doesn't have a lot to utilize anyway. Now you take these 2 away from him. Oh boy.
The only hope Houston has is if the Eagles get some kind of flu epidemic in their locker room before the game. I mean, that's it, plain and simple. I think Jalen Hurts is going to want to put on a show in front of his hometown Houston fans.
Right.
He's from Houston. And I think they're going to do what they want to do at will. And I think this will be the game. We're always screaming about them blitz more. But James Bradbury and Darius Slay might be bored by halftime in this game. So they might, Eagles got 6 quarterback sacks against Pittsburgh. They might get another 9 or 10 in this game.
Well, here's what I would say. It would be very much out of character for the Eagles to overlook them and just feel like they can show up. We haven't seen that from the Eagles all year. Okay.
Right.
They generally are locked in, but man, if there's ever a freaking game where you're going to fall into that trap, especially because now you get 11 days off after this game.
Oh my goodness.
If there's any concern I have, it's strictly on the Eagles side of not taking this thing too seriously rather than any kind of matchups or any of that.
Yes, I think the most intriguing thing about Houston tonight is that they're wearing the red helmets, I believe. I love their red helmets.
Yeah.
I think that's the most entertaining thing about that team tonight. Outside of that, once I get over, the red helmets, okay, let's play football. And then by halftime, you start looking at the numbers. I will say this, though, which is interesting, and I want to see why. I know Lovie Smith is a good defensive coach.
Yeah, sure.
They're only giving up 22 points a game.
Yeah. So, I think they'll show up on defense. Like, he's too good a coach.
Yeah.
And, he's a prideful man that I don't think this defense will lay down. But
yeah.
The Eagles offense is too good not to do some damage here.
Yeah.
Anyway.
They have too many mismatches on both sides of the ball, way too many mismatches. And I just don't see how this Houston, but then again, you could put it under the category of every week this NFL season has been a shocker.
Yes.
Every week. And hopefully this does not kick off week 8, a shocker tonight. I don't see it any way, shape, or form, but you just never know week to week because of what you just said.
I think it'll just be another sort of chapter in this is how focused Sirianni has them and Jalen Hurts has them week in and week out. I think it'll just be another chapter of that. I do. Like, I think they'll show up. That's a part of me. I feel really good about this team. There's a lot of things I like about this team, but their attitude and their focus is really strong as far as I'm concerned.
I think this is a game where the Eagles will be padding their stats on both sides of the football. They'll move up in the rankings in terms of rushing yards per game.
Yes.
They will move up in terms of where they rank in quarterback sacks on the season.
Mm-hmm.
They will move up in terms of points allowed, points scored. This is the only thing that you don't count on is a special teams play. It is what it is.
Yes.
It's not going to change in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
Now, Lovie Smith would have to give a speech of a lifetime. It would have to be a speech, the equivalent of Al Pacino's speech in Any Given Sunday before they played that playoff game in Houston.
Yeah.
Right.
Kurt Russell and Herb Brooks before the 1980.
There you go.
Yeah.
It would have to be an epic speech to get these guys to play 10 times better than they've played all season up to this point.
Absolutely. All right, let me give you one more here. So the Eagles have scored 126 points in the second quarter.
Yes.
Texans have scored 116 all season.
That was like Pittsburgh
like
scored 107.
It was like the Steelers. Yeah.
Oh my goodness! This is like
there he is.
My compadres.
There he is.
Mi amigos.
There's Barney. Hey, Barney. Barrett. How you doing?
I just got in. I said my friends, and what happens? Derek just jumps in on me already.
Unbelievable.
No, I
right?
forgot your name for a second. I haven't seen you.
He went Barney on you right out of 10 seconds after your introduction.
Man. Oh, you know what? I said the name Barney, but I didn't even pay attention to the fact that he's wearing a purple shirt.
Why did you say Barney?
I don't know what. Barrett instead of Barney.
I thought it was a purple thing. All right.
No, I forgot.
You called him Prince. You could have called him a lot of things. Prince would have been cool.
I didn't want to call him Prince. I didn't want to call him Prince.
What didn't I see? What didn't I have going in?
You know what? I don't like there's certain things I don't like to address in the chat room, but this person here, great. You see, great. He just asked Barrett the same question he asked me a while ago. I ignored. When was the last time you got into a fight? And I'm thinking,
I fight with you guys every day.
We're talking sports. And where do you come from with this? Are you just getting attention or what? I mean,
it's a weird question.
So we gave you attention. All right, moving on. All
right. So Barrett, we have started to dip our foot into the Eagles pool here, and I want to get your thoughts on the Phillies too. But let me hit you with this. There's no Nico Collins, there's no Brandon Cooks to an offense that's already limited to say the least. How do you go? Honestly, I'm asking you this as a player. How do you guard against overconfidence going into this game?
When you have an objective to take care of, there are so many things that guys are playing for that are going to keep them focused. You got Bradbury's playing for a contract. All those guys with those 1-year deals. Kasir White playing for a contract. Your quarterback, he's always going to go in with the mindset that, this is what I do. That's how he's made. That's how he's been raised. He's a quarterback that always wants to cross his T's, dot his I's. So he's going to go in from a mindset that, all right, this is what I have to do. I'm going to go out there and play to the best of my abilities because that's who I am. But there's also that little inkling right there that's glaring in front of him that he could potentially be a $40 million quarterback at the end of this season if he plays his cards right. So, of course, you're going to get the very best out of him for the entire year because that incentive is right there. But I think as a team and the team goals, this team wants to be great. This team wants to make sure that they're looked upon as not being the second fiddle to teams like the Chiefs and the Bills. They want to be one of the upper echelon teams, so they're going to play accordingly. That's a sign of a bad team that you can't keep this thing going. Like I said, I was on a Steelers team. We knew we were the best team at that time, playing. We went off 13 straight games, but, like I said, any given, Sunday, we went in and lost to a team that we demolished in the preseason. During the season, we demolished the Patriots. But then we got into where it really counted, going to the Super Bowl. We're in the AFC Championship game, and they beat us. They beat us because we thought we had it all wrapped up. Well, they're not going to have that type of mindset. They're going to make sure that they're ready to roll. As soon as that gun sounds, they're going to be ready to rock and roll. And Nick, Nick knows it. They're not going to buy into the rat poison, as Jalen was said. And, how they went about their business. They're just not going to fall for it.
Yeah, I think Jalen's wired one way. There's no other way for him to even. I don't think he can even function any other way. So I think he's
right.
Honestly. So I think he's locked in. The other thing is, and
he's like you. He's like you. Cheerios, iced tea, or Cheerios and water. He's
Cheerios
just
and dysfunction.
Right.
The other thing that I really think helps the Eagles in a weird way. They're playing in a division where you got teams right on their tail, man. You got the Giants and the Cowboys not far behind. You're not running away with this thing this year. Those two teams are showing up here. You got to. I know you beat the Vikings head to head, but you got a team in conference that only has one loss. So if you're thinking big picture, which you kind of have, I know you're focused on this is the game at hand, but you also have to look at big picture to an extent as an organization.
Right.
You got teams that are trailing you that aren't that far off. So you're not running away with this thing. I think that's a good thing actually for them.
But also you got to understand this. They're not far removed from being a team that's just like a Texans team.
Yes.
A Steeler team. 2 years ago, they were the worst team in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
They've built upon it now. They see what the potential they could be, and they see how good they can be. Yeah. That's another thing, too. Because they see how good and the potential they could be, you hear them all saying, we have yet to put together 4 great quarters. Well, that's a team that wants to achieve that goal, so they're going to keep working. They almost overcorrect when they go out there and they don't do something well. They overcorrect. If they said they want to get a guy the ball, they go out and overly give him the ball. So – That's just how this team is wired, man. Derek?
I'm looking at Houston's stats. What, did you think I was going to say something about you again?
Yes, I thought you were.
You know what? I'm past you. I'm back to.
Jeez, welcome into the show, Barrett. Don't you feel loved?
He said, "I'm past you."
Yeah.
You made me almost lose my train of thought here.
Oh my God!
I'm looking at Houston stats. They have 3. Get it?
That'll do it, Derek. If you're looking at Houston stats,
yeah,
I know. That's why I'm thinking. I can't believe I got to watch this mess tonight. I want to watch the World Series. Look, Houston has 3 rushing touchdowns, 3, all by Dameon Pierce. They have
who's actually pretty good, by the way. I'm just
he is, but he's playing behind a poor offensive line.
He is.
Your top 2 receivers are out. Your number 3 receiver is your tight end, Jordan Akins. I don't even know who he is, as 159 yards receiving. They have 25 big plays, with the big plays, according to ESPN.com stats, big plays are any plays of 20 yards or more. Right. They only have 25 total through 7 games. 25 total. Okay. And in terms of quarterback sacks, they have 15. They're decent in QB sacks.
They're not bad there. That's actually one of their strengths. Yeah.
And as Barrett mentioned too, yes, Barrett, I did say Barrett. I got your name right, so you just chill out. Okay. So I got you. They do have some decent. I forgot they had Malik Collins from Dallas on there.
Malik Collins can play.
Malik Collins is a pretty good ball player. They got, their young first-round pick at the cornerback position.
Stingley.
Derek Stingley.
Yep. Yeah, Derek Stingley. They do have where's he? Christian Kirksey, who's a good linebacker. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I'm surprised Green Bay let him go, but they do have him in the middle of that.
They got some players on defense. Yeah. There's some guys there.
Now, Philip Dorsett, I'm trying to see what has he done this year? Let's see here. Philip Dorsett, who used to be a pretty good receiver.
Yeah.
Philip Dorsett.
Yeah, I don't love him.
All right. In 6 games, Philip Dorsett has 4 catches. So
yeah, he's just he's a hang-on guy. Like he's in the league. I don't know if there's much else there.
Bro, I made a business out of that for a long time. I'll just hang around, hang around her.
Here's what I would say about this game. Could potentially go fast by NFL standards, because if you're Houston, who are you throwing it to? I'm pounding Pierce.
I'm throwing it to the referees. That's what I'm throwing it to.
Well, think about this. So the one slight issue the Eagles have is they're not great run defensive stand. Easy for me to say. So if I'm Houston, I'm pounding Pierce, and if I'm the Eagles,
no Davis.
Yeah, well, that's true. You're right about that too, Barrett. Great point.
So that's a problem. That's a problem.
That is a problem. That's a problem going forward too. And if I'm the Eagles, I'm running it down their throat because they can't stop the run to save their life. I mean, it should be a game where there's a lot of rushing attempts for both teams.
I'm hoping
Collins is out though.
What? Collins is out?
Yes.
No, this is getting worse by the minute. The 2 top receivers are out. One of the best defensive linemen is out. This game's getting worse by. I'm hoping the Eagles set a new NFL record for rushing attempts. Keep that clock moving.
Yeah. They got my boy on that team though.
Who?
Cameron Johnstone, the punter.
Okay,
The punter. Barrett's got his jersey. He still has his Cameron Johnston jersey that he wears. Yeah.
I'm hoping this is like a 2-hour, 15-minute game.
Right.
I'm telling you. This could be one of these games where Al Michaels is like, why did I make this move again? You know, what happened?
Oh my goodness. I'm hoping Prime loses their signal and we don't have to watch the whole quarter of this game.
Yeah. Well, I don't know, man. I am so like, this is just ingrained. It's probably a Philly thing, but like whenever it looks this bleak for one side, weird stuff happens. Yes. That's all I'm saying, man. And it probably won't.
Yeah. And with our past,
yeah,
and how pessimistic we as fans are here.
Yes.
I could definitely not see this going. I could definitely not see anything happening wrong. But if it could go wrong, it might go wrong. I'll put it like that. I'm not gonna say it's gonna go wrong. And you know, my glasses always have full, so it's even hard for me to even think about this.
No, I agree with you. This has the makings of a game that shouldn't be competitive. It really does. I mean,
it should not be competitive.
Yes, on both sides. Like there isn't anything you can point to from a Houston perspective other than maybe punter at Cameron Johnston, where you feel like they have an advantage. Honestly,
we're outgunned.
Yeah, where's the advantage? There isn't one.
You know what? This might be one of those games. Will I pull a Barrett? You remember how I used to tell you Barrett when he was supposed to be getting ready for shows, he would be sitting at his desk looking at movies.
You're killing me today.
No, I'm just saying. I can see myself on the post-game show putting movies on my phone and watching movies instead of paying attention to what's going on. Yeah. I can see that.
We all in front of company right now. You bringing up old stuff, man.
Man, this ain't no look. You bring
all
up
in front of company.
Hold up. You bring up old stuff every day. Stop that. Stop it.
We all in front of company. You just
these people ain't company. Look,
these people ain't laundry, as Don Henley once said.
These people ain't company. They're family. They've been with us from day one. They ain't company anymore. They're family.
All right, Barrett. So we'll get back to the Eagles in a second, but your take on what you saw last night with the Phils.
Well, I mean, that's the team that we thought we were going to be playing against the 2 games we won. Mm-hmm. It's a good team, but it's not like this team can't. I don't understand Nola though, man.
Yeah, that's the problem.
I don't understand Nola. That's me. I just don't understand what's going on. But he's not. He's out now, and I think we're gonna get a good pitching day today.
Syndergaard starts and then the bullpen. Yeah. Well, I was saying to Derek earlier, like I don't care that they got no hit. They lost. Who cares how it happened? By 1 run, by 7 runs, 1 hit, no hit, 10 hits. It doesn't matter to me. Like that part's not a big deal. I just hope that Verlander isn't on some mission after to disprove all the 0-6 and a 6.07 ERA in 8 World Series games.
You don't have a game just like Nola, bro.
Yeah.
Look,
that's what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna sit here and say that I don't care they got no hit, because last night, Tuesday night, the Phillies sent an emphatic message that this is our house, and they came out bombing on Tuesday night. Now Houston could have crumpled, and Houston came back and sent out an emphatic message last night that you know what, we ain't just your average team you playing against here.
Classic Titans.
Yeah, exactly. And when you say, Rob, you don't care they got no hit, I disagree with you, because I honestly believe I would bet a day's pay that if the Phillies had thrown that no-hitter last night, you would have done this whole show dancing around your leather chair doing a gritty, talking about how the Phillies no-hit Houston last night. So don't tell me that you don't care that they got no hit last night.
No, here's what I mean. Would I celebrate in the moment? Of course. But do I don't feel like the Phillies are going to show up at the park like, oh my God, we got no hit last night. I don't.
I know, I'm just kidding.
I know. But here's the other thing. Like, you make a great point, Derek, because this is where baseball's kind of unique to other sports. It's generally about your starter. So Houston gets blanked the night before. They look bad. The Phillies hit 5 home runs.
Right.
But their pitcher came out and dealt. And that just ended momentum for the Phillies right there, right? So what you have to have tonight, it's twofold really for the Phillies. Syndergaard and the bullpen have to be good, obviously. But your bats have to set the tone pretty early in this thing that it's not going to be the same kind of night. And Verlander's a guy we got to before. We got to get to him again. It has to happen.
You got to get that inkling out of his head that, all right, I'm out of this now. You got to go out there and hit him hard from the
right away. Yep.
Barrett, I said if I'm Dusty Baker, based on what Verlander did the first game, he was rock solid the first 3 innings.
Yep.
I tell Verlander, you got 3 innings because you see what our bullpen can do when we're on. You got 3. All I need from you is 3 innings. Now, if I get 4 innings like that from you, that's good. If I somehow get 5 innings from you, you know what that does for setting up our bullpen for this game?
Mm-hmm.
You know, all I want is 3 innings. Give me 3 innings like you gave me that first game, and we'll take it from there.
Yeah, I would say the same thing, but then I'm thinking like this. Look, from the Philly standpoint,
yeah,
I'm like, look, guys, we know what we can do.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just start it off from the beginning. Home runs, I don't care if you got to point your bat. You know what I'm saying? We're going yard to start it off.
You going major league on them?
Major league, bro.
But these are usually the moments where Harper sets a tone.
Harper,
okay,
from out of nowhere, Harper just comes up and just like, all right.
Or Schwarber. Yeah.
Schwarber to start it up. My leadoff come in.
Or Hoskins.
Yep.
Points to the stand.
And you get that place going again. Look, and I don't blame them. Like, some people are getting on the fans were quiet last night. They were no hit. What did you want?
What do you want from them?
What are you doing?
Nothing.
Yeah.
You know who I blame for this loss? I blame Xander.
Because
Xander took his butt to the game last night.
Yes.
Xander jinxed him. I
He
blame
better
him.
not take his narrow ass to that stadium again. He better
Xander,
not.
Yeah.
You better not even go to you better not even drive past the stadium until January.
Right. You stay your butt right across the bridge.
That's right.
What do you say?
That's
I know
right,
he said something smart.
We know he can't go tonight.
What do you
That's
say?
a good thing. Okay.
He said he put himself on a lifetime
ban. Yeah. It's, you know what it's like? It's like the college football was a death penalty. Like SMU he can't go to
SMU. Give him the SMU.
SMU. He got SMU'd from the Eric Dickerson, Craig James days.
Matter of fact, I'm calling my boys in the Philly Police Department. If you see this dude's car,
exactly,
stop him.
Yes.
Stop him on 95. Stop him on 76. However he gets to the state, have somebody stop him.
Oh my God.
And reroute him, please.
All right. So here's what we'll do. When we come back, the Eagles put Jordan Davis on IR, which is not shocking. I mean, I'm not going to say that part's a surprise.
6 weeks, man. 6 weeks.
Yeah. I mean, the reality of being without
4, but
we don't know. We don't know exactly.
Well, if you're on IR, you're automatically 4. But Barrett's
I'm saying,
right.
We don't know if he's going to be ready then even.
Yeah,
right.
When you talk about 330 pounds and you're trying to put that kind of weight on a high ankle sprain,
yeah.
All
right, so let's dig into that when we get back, the impact, because I think it's an underplayed storyline for a team that already against the run it's not a strength. So let's talk about
I got my counter to it, and I got what they need to do too. All right.
Okay.
Right.
And who will step up
Let's do this
with him not there. So we'll do that. All of that when we get back. 1:30. Shield
back,
Kapadia. Shield's going to join us at 1:30. We'll do that as well. All right. Don't go anywhere. Barrett, Derek, Rob, Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. Let's talk about Pro Action Restoration. Pro Action Restoration is the place that you call, you reach out to if your home, your business, your property has experienced any type of issue with flooding, water, fire, smoke, mold damage, whatever the case may be. Pro Action's on call 24 hours, 7 days a week. I've gone through it. It was a Saturday. I wasn't really sure if there were any companies available. It was a desperate situation with a finished basement having been flooded. They got out there. They cleaned it up. They figured out what the issue was. The crew was professional, clean. The price was reasonable. It was an unbelievable experience. And they're licensed, bonded, fully insured. They've been serving the tri-state area for more than 2 decades. Pro Action will work in conjunction with your insurance company also. So get you a little bit of coverage there. Whether it's water, fire, smoke damage, mold remediation, you name it, they can handle it. Give them a call, 610-623-3760, 610-623-3760, or online at proactionrestoration.com, proactionrestoration.com.
Philly sports fans, I'm Tom Giordano from Ponley Hockey Giordano. First and foremost, thank you for watching the Ponley Hockey postgame show. But right now, we're giving away tickets to the World Series. Follow Ponley Hockey on Instagram and check out our posts for your chance to win tickets to all 3 Phillies home games. Go Phillies and go Birds.
Welcome to Pondley Hockey, the largest workers' compensation law firm in Pennsylvania. With over 250 years of combined courtroom experience, we've helped over 100,000 injured and disabled workers obtain benefits, as well as some of the biggest settlements in the state. Even better, Pondley Hockey doesn't charge a dime until you win. If you've been injured at work, give Pondley Hockey a call.
Go to get your game on. Go for the beers. Go for the cheers. Go for the hit and the hits. Go for the stakes and the stakes. Go to get your parlay on. Go to get your party on. Go for the scene. Go for the screens. Go for the gallery. Go for the win. Go to Ocean. Visit theoceanac.com to plan your visit.
It's a fall car fest, and Jeff D'Ambrosio, Destination Downingtown, says, yes, you can. Jeff says, yes, you can choose from over 1,000 vehicles in stock with no wait. Yes, you can still get low prices, leases, and big discounts. Yes, you can still get low interest financing. And Jeff always says, yes, you can have a real deal buying experience without the hassle. When the other dealers say, no, you can't, Jeff says, yes, you can. Jeff D'Ambrosio, Destination Downingtown. Nobody treats you better. Jeep Adventure Days.
Philadelphia fans, we're cut from a different cloth. Born into a brotherhood and bonded to our team for life. We believe anything is possible because we've witnessed the impossible. While we may be from different neighborhoods, come Sunday, we are one, and we will be heard. Pondley Hockey, official partner of the Philadelphia Eagles.
What's up, guys? Welcome back again, everybody. Thanks for hanging out with us on this Thursday. Big day in Philadelphia sports. As we mentioned, we are Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. Barrett, Derek, Rob. What's up, Gunner?
Let me ask you guys a question.
Yes, sir.
Now, we're journalists. We talk sports for a living, but also just equally important, we are consummate sports fans.
Yes.
So if you guys weren't doing what you do and didn't have commitments, if you could just sit back to watch TV tonight, what would you be watching? The Eagles game or the Phillies game?
And
you can only watch one. You
can only watch one. Yeah, I can't do the double TV setup. Okay.
It's simple for me.
I would watch the Phillies for this reason. I truly believe in dangerous thinking. I know. I think the Eagles are going to roll, and it's a World Series game. So I would go. You'll rarely ever hear me ever say this, that anything goes over the Eagles. But this would be a night I would choose the Phillies.
Okay.
How about you, Bear?
I'm watching the Eagles, man. I'm sorry. I'm a football junkie, and I'm watching the Eagles.
I buy it. Yep.
I mean, even though the World Series is the World Series, I got to go with the Eagles.
Mm-hmm. Fair enough. How about you, Derek?
I played baseball much of my life. I football as well. I would be watching the Eagles. If you twist my arm, I would watch the Eagles. Even though I think it's going to be like David versus Goliath, I will still watch the Eagles game. Just because it's once a week, you know. And when it comes to football, when I have that opportunity, I don't want somebody to tell me secondhand what happened. I don't want to read about it in a box score. I want to watch it for myself, form my own opinions, ooh and ah on my own, and then be on equal terms debating the game the next day with whoever I'm talking football with.
Right.
Don't get me wrong, baseball. I love baseball, as you guys know. But I would definitely be watching the Eagles game tonight.
Okay. Look, that's fair enough. You know, it's funny. You get different answers. Like I think John said, probably Eagles less stress, and he's not wrong, right?
Yeah.
And GG Meta thinks baseball is boring, and I get it. Like I totally understand where everybody's coming from. It's all it depends. Different stories for different folks, man.
Right.
Whatever. But yeah, if you're looking for less stress, I think you'll have a less stressful time with the Eagles tonight than you will the Phillies. The Phillies will be stressful.
Ball 316 puts an interesting twist on it. What if it were Game 7? Which would you watch?
I'm still in the same boat, obviously. I'm still Phillies. Well, how about you guys? Game 7. This is it. All the marbles, man.
I'm still watching Eagles.
Okay.
I'm still watching Eagles because I don't. Yeah. I'm gonna tell you the truth, man. And I can only watch football when it comes down to stuff like that. When I watch baseball and basketball, I don't want to see them last games like that, because I get too many knots in my stomach and I be want to throw up, dog. Seriously, man, I be want to throw up, man. It's tough for me, man, because watching baseball like that and basketball like that.
I like Chris's point. Not that she agrees with me. I do like that too, Chris. Thank you. But she says, I watch the Phillies because it's the World Series. It may only come along once a decade. She's right. We haven't seen this in 11 years. So that's fair. I mean, I think here's what I would say. It's a beautiful stress, but this Phillies run has been stress inducing. Like it has. It's a great thing to have, and you want it. You feed off of it, but it's been stressful for sure. Like we haven't had. We think about Eagles games, right? That Detroit game got a little sketchy. We haven't had massive stress with the Eagles thus far this year.
You've had frustration, but not stress.
Yeah.
Frustration with their low period in the third quarters.
Yes.
Stress that they don't go after quarterbacks enough. But outside of that, it's been to a minimum. That's it.
Absolutely. No, absolutely. 100%.
I told you before, 3 years ago, when watching the secondary of the Eagles, I used to literally have to eat antacids like they were M&Ms on third down, man. It would make me literally sick.
Are you serious?
Yes. When I was playing, I would get literally sick, dog, on the field.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? Like I hate to lose so much that it would affect me. It would affect me, my emotions so bad that it would make my body physically sick.
Wow. That's how much you care. I mean, I don't doubt that. That's how much you care.
I had to break that curse for me when I watched it. I tell you why.
I remember when you did it too. I was there.
This was way before I knew you. When I did this, when we were living in Pittsburgh, and I was watching Green Bay play Kansas City on a Monday night. The 20 too many times, and my head was throbbing. My wife's laugh. It's just a football game. Why do you get so worked up? And I looked at her and said, don't you ever talk football to me. I jumped out of my chair. Don't you ever talk football to me again. And I was like, whoa, that's a little too far gone. That's when you've gone to the dark side. And I'm like,
bro, I can remember you sitting there until I said, nope. You sitting there one day in the office. This is like 5 years ago. Nope, I'm not doing it. I refuse. I am not doing it.
I did.
Like, what are you talking about? I refuse to go through this with this team. I am not doing it. Yeah. Barrett, I did too much of this. I'm not doing it anymore.
Not doing it.
I'm way better than I was. Like I used to be when I was a kid. I was a disaster after a bad loss. Like,
I can believe it for you, bro.
Really?
Yeah. Not in a way like a bratty. Like I was just like down. Like
I believe you wouldn't eat.
Yeah, like that. Like and I'd be still like it'd be like 4 days later in school, and I'm like, I'm not paying one bit of attention to what's going on. And the teacher's like, what's going on? I'm like, did you see the Eagles game Sunday? And she's like, what?
Oh man,
we're learning math right now. I'm like, I'm not learning anything. I'm thinking about what happened on third and 5. Then they call my parents. So then,
oh my goodness.
I get like sat down, and my parents would talk to me, right? And then my mom would like go in the other room. My dad would be like, listen, I got you. Like, I know. I'm the same way. Like, I can't work, and he's like, but you got to like at least fake it in school, man. Like, you can't be having those meetings with your teachers all the time. Like,
oh my goodness.
Dude, when I was a kid, if my team lost the game, I'd be disappointed for a few minutes. My boys, I'm going outside to play. Mom, Dad, I'm going outside to play. I was done with it. I was over.
Yeah,
bro.
I would not let it linger like that. Rob, you were ready for the psychiatrist chair.
I'll tell you where I really and I still sort of have a hard time with this.
Wow.
If my team loses, I don't want to sit there and watch all the post-game analysis of it. Like, I'm just like, like last night, dude, I put on like Cheers. I watched an episode of Cheers and went, I couldn't do it. Yeah, I was annoyed. Yeah.
Now I will say this: when my team loses, I don't want
true,
NFL Network has a great highlight show that comes on after all the games are over on Sunday nights.
Yeah,
they do a great job with that. When my team loses, I don't watch the show. I can't watch this show.
It gets irritating. I really don't like for people to talk to me afterwards either. Like if I lost, like we lost, and I'm driving home, and I might stop at the grocery store, like especially they have a 1 o'clock game, and we lost, and so. When we have a 1 o'clock game, I'm usually done with everything about 6:30.
Yeah.
Post-game show, all that. And I'm going home. And I usually listen to Rob on the way home.
Right.
and he just irritates me even more. You know, you know what I'm saying?
Just think what I do to myself.
Right, so I can hear he's irritated, and I'm very irritated. So I just turn the radio off and I go.
I'll tell you what else pisses me off. Like, my buddies want to get involved in a group text discussion about like, what went down. I'm like, dude, take me off the chain, get me out of this. Either you're taking me out or I'm taking myself. I don't want to hear Joey breaking down everything that happened in the game. Okay.
So imagine being at the grocery store. I didn't bitch for about an hour and a half, 2 hours on post game show. I'm driving home. Could you pick up this from the grocery store? All right, so now I'm hobbling. All right. You didn't do nothing. It's not your fault. Yeah. I'm mad. So all right, I take it. Okay, I'll go, and I go get it. And as I'm going to get it, I'm sitting there walking around. Aren't you? Uh-huh. Man, I can't believe. Oh, here we go. Yeah. Here we go with a dissertation.
Yep.
I'm like, oh no.
Well, the Barrett, the best is it's posed as a question, but it's not even a question. It's,
right.
Hey, what do you think happened? And then here's what I think happened, and you don't even get a word. You're just like, whoa,
no.
Yeah, it's funny.
What do you think happened with those DBs when they got beat because they can't play?
What are you supposed to say?
You just answered it.
Yeah, you answered your own question. They can't play. You're right. Yes.
See, when it comes to my brother, I just use a Jedi mind trick on him because he's rubbing it in. Vikings are running away with the division, so he's texting me, and so I said, you know what? I know how to get to him. So I text him back. I said, you know what? I just started with, I hope they win the division. Now he's thinking.
What does that mean?
So he goes, yeah, right. You don't believe? I said, no. I do hope they win the division now. So him being him, he bit hook, line, and sinker. Why? I said, because I can't wait to see him choke in the first round of the playoffs. I haven't heard from him since.
Oh my God, that's awesome. But yeah, I mean, that's, but that shows you care. It shows you're a fan. It shows you that you're in. Of course, do you want to be, just completely absurd about it? No, but it's hard sometimes. It's hard.
It is, bro.
Aren't you? And I mean this in a general term, not you, but
yeah.
When you sit back and think about how involved and wrapped up you get in and let your emotions take the best of you, aren't you ashamed of yourself?
Not ashamed, but there are times where you're like, I take this way too seriously.
I used to get ashamed of myself. I'm thinking, I can't believe I'm not playing. I don't get paid. I'm a fan, but I've let this take me to a point where I got a headache, and I don't want to talk to anybody.
Bro,
I don't want to eat.
Family. Yeah, I'm telling my family, hey,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
see, give me some space. Yeah.
See, I'll never get to that point again. Never.
Yeah. I think part of it is like that's the downside, no doubt. But it makes the win, like when what the Phillies are doing here, for example, or if the Eagles could go on a magical run like 2017, it makes it that much sweeter because you've been through some tough ones with them.
Well, see, I can remember our boss told us, well, don't worry about watching the games. You got to do the show.
Yeah.
What?
And when we were doing Breakfast on Broad, because of the out. So what Barrett means is like we would have to get up
at 4 in the morning.
No,
we were in there by 4.
Yeah.
We were up at like.
I'd have lasted one day on that show. I'm gonna tell you that right now.
Well, so we say that.
Yeah, she would say, "Don't watch the games. Go to sleep at 6 o'clock at night and get a good night's sleep." Right.
So you're telling Rob that. So Rob is hanging on by a thread.
Yeah.
By a thread in there because he watched the West Coast trips were the worst because the hockey was the only thing we had going because the Eagles sucked.
Yeah.
Phillies sucked. Everybody sucked during that time with the exception of the hockey. I'm saying the hockey like that.
Yeah.
Man, I'm talking to those guys in the office too much. The Flyers.
Yeah.
Had a 7 or 8 game winning streak.
Yeah.
And it came out. You don't have to watch it. He lost his mind.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
I couldn't.
Sports show.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? I mean,
I remember one time, I think it was a Sixers game, and they were playing on the West Coast, and my alarm was set for 2:45, and the game ended at 1:30. I'm like, what am I doing? What am I doing? I'm going to sleep for an hour. I might as well just stay up.
No. See, I'd interviewed for that show, and I said, I'm interested. Yeah, I'm interested. I think I can add this to your show. I can do this to the show. And yes, you have to be in here by 4 a.m. Wait, say that again. I got to do what?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can take this show and put it where, because they ain't happening with me. I ain't
Morning
doing it.
shows are a challenge, man.
And the worst
Ain't
thing
doing it.
about it, I was doing college, like I'm doing now. I'm doing
Yeah.
college football, so I do a college football game, and at that time, I was on the number 2 crew, and I was inside the truck, so I was producing the show. So we'd have an Alabama game at 8:00, and then it wouldn't end until like 11:30, and then I had to drive 2 hours because they're down in Alabama.
There's
or
no
these
airport
places,
that's going to get
there's
you
no
back to
airport,
Philly.
yeah. So I had to drive to the airport straight there
Oh,
and sleep for an hour inside the airport, and I snore too. And then I fly back to and do a game, and I have to, the Eagles game is at 1:00.
Oh.
And then I have to do the Eagles game, pre and post game show.
Oh.
So I wasn't getting back. I didn't go to sleep for like a solid 30 hours that
You never get that back. Like, you never get caught up. You're constantly in this.
Right.
Yeah, I know.
Can you
And then we're
imagine
doing
Barry?
breakfast on Broad and I had to be up at 4:00.
Oh.
From get home at 6:30, 7:00, I had to be up at 4:00.
Yeah.
And then she comes in and says, "Well, you guys don't have to watch. You don't have to watch the games." Like,
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
What do you mean you don't have to watch it? How do I know about the blue line if I don't watch it?
Yeah, there's too many things you miss. I don't. Some people can do it. Like, there have been very successful morning hosts who don't watch the game but talk about it, and good for them if that works.
God
I
bless
couldn't
them.
do
Can you imagine Barrett in the airport snoring?
it.
Bruh.
I would die. Like snoring like General Ben.
Yep. No, what do
I
you mean?
would
You were so irritating at the time because you would just be messing with me. You.
What are you talking
That
about?
was early in my career too. You would just mess with me for no reason, bro.
What are you talking about?
Yeah,
He was
look
sitting
at
at
that
this
face.
desk. He was sitting at this desk snoring, Rob. Dude, I used to take stuff and throw it. He'd go like this.
One
Oh
time
my
we were told we were gonna get food. And I'm like, all right, we're gonna get food. If we're gonna get food, man, I'm not gonna eat anything all day. I'm just gonna eat their food.
Oh no.
And we didn't get food.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, and you got hangry.
Oh
Yeah.
my goodness.
Yeah,
And
you got
he just keeps poking me.
Yeah,
No, I
man.
did.
Oh, you
No, I
hungry,
did. I
aren't you?
just sat there and laughed. There's a difference between poking fun at you and laughing. I was sitting there laughing at your anger and what kept coming out of your mouth behind that. What the bleep do you mean we're not getting food?
Stop.
He
man.
went up. He went to a whole nother
Yeah.
bear.
Hangry
See,
can get nasty.
Oh, yeah.
I will tell you that. Yeah, that can get nasty.
man, dude.
All right, let me ask you guys this. So we
Yes.
know Jordan Davis is out. We know that didn't look good. He was at a walking boot. They put him on the IR. Minimum 4, could be longer. We don't know right now. This is also a team that's giving up pretty healthy chunks in terms of average per carry on the ground. They're middling in terms of yards per game, but some of that is it could maybe be worse if teams weren't throwing to try to get back in games. So the running defense is a bit of an issue here. How big a loss, even though I don't think it's being talked about all that much, is Jordan Davis?
That's first and second down production. That's the loss. It's first and second down production. Teams are going to try to run on the Eagles now because he's not there. A name you probably see come up on the roster this weekend. Well, he should be on the day, if anything. Did that come out yet? Did they bring?
I haven't seen who's active and who's not
no.
yet. No.
Have they brought up Marvin Wilson? I can see him coming up. I thought he had an excellent camp. He balled in camp. I thought he played better than Marlon Tuipulotu. He played better than he did. He also played better than he's gone now, but I thought that he should have made the squad
Right.
more so than Marlon.
Yeah.
So long story long, I see him coming up. And if they do want to get to a 50 front to stop the run, all they do is take Hargrave, because Hargrave played that nose when he was in Pittsburgh.
Right.
Made the Pro Bowl, not the Pro Bowl,
Right.
but he was a really good player. Got that big contract from playing at the nose, the head up nose. You move him into that nose position. You just bring Milton Williams in. He'll play the 3 technique.
Okay.
So now you have Cox, Hargrave, and Milton in the middle of the defense. That's a pretty
I
good
feel
running
good with
defense.
Milton getting extended snaps. I like Milton Williams.
So I think that's the best possible means of band-aiding that hole until you put your guy Davis back in there.
Okay. All right. I do think because he wasn't getting early like a ton of reps that people sort of have looked at this like, yeah, it's not a big deal. It's a pretty big deal. Like he was really starting to play better, and he makes everybody's life easier when he's in there.
Yeah.
He's clogging up the hole.
Yeah.
He's not. He's a mobile object, man.
I just don't want to see. I don't even want to see this Houston team think they can have a chance tonight. I do not want one of those games. I want this over. I want them buried. I want a eulogy done by midway through the second quarter. And I just want to be able to sit back and chill. And then I can focus a little bit more on the Phillies game, more so than the Eagles game. Keep an eye on the Eagles game, but focus a little bit more on the Phillies game, especially if we have it on in that green room. I do not want to have to pay attention to this Eagles game in the fourth quarter because somehow, some way, Houston is in this game. And I keep going back to how they got freight trained by Tennessee, but they only gave up 17 points, and they only lost by 7.
Some of that is Tennessee doesn't have much of a passing game.
No, I know.
Look at these
Plus,
guys,
they had a
man.
rookie quarterback.
Yeah, you're killing you over your
Tui Pelotu.
Yeah, you actually got it. You got it. I don't know.
Yeah,
I think you're doing good with it.
I was proud of you.
Did you stop everybody? Did you guys hear Barrett?
By the way, I think it's his brother. His brother's a beast at USC. But anyway,
yes, he is.
Oh my goodness, yes.
But I agree with you, Derek, in this sense. Not from our own selfish purposes, but I think if the Eagles jump on them right away, Houston's going to fold 10. Like just come out and start haymakers, man, right out of the chute, and put them away. I think it's quickest way to have this thing.
I can see Houston trying to do like the Steelers did, come up with some gadget plays to use against them to try to catch them napping. Like Pittsburgh used that reverse pass for a touchdown.
Which was a really nice play call.
It was a nice play call. They had the fake punt. They picked up the first down on that.
Yep.
I can see Houston trying to do a few things like that, but I don't think it's when you're talking about a team that has 3 rushing touchdowns and your quarterback has 8 touchdown passes and 6 interceptions. It's going to be a long night for them and a very prosperous night for the opposition. That's why I said individually and collectively, this Eagles team should pad their sacks. They should be in the top 5 in sacks after this game tonight.
Well, I also think too, like if you're the Eagles, and again, you can't get ahead of this game.
No, you can't.
But I think, the players are cognizant of this. At least they get 11 days off after this. Like it's just, as much as it sucks to suck it up and have to go back at it Thursday after playing Sunday, you at least man, we don't play again until Monday. Oh man, all right. We can really rest our bodies up here, and it's almost like a second bye.
That's exactly what it is.
The one thing you have to worry about, or not worry about, but to watch closely tonight. Brandon Graham only played 13 snaps last game because of a hamstring. Now it's a short week.
Yep.
If he's limited to 13 snaps, that means other guys have to play extended snaps.
Robert Quinn.
How would that affect the game? Yeah, how would that affect? Well, true, but you don't have a Derek Barnett. So you got Robert Quinn, you got Josh Sweat, you got Brandon Graham playing on a bad leg, and Hassan Reddick. Mm-hmm. How does that affect the rotation?
Yeah, more minutes for some of these guys who are not young. I mean, Quinn obviously get up there a little bit, but look, that's a good point. I don't know, and again, if you're the Eagles and you really feel like he's hurting, does BG not play tonight? I mean, I could imagine he's going to fight them on it. I'm sure he wants to play, but
he's there. But
something you got to think about. But that is.
They shouldn't. Wouldn't you think they should say no?
I would.
Think so.
Against this particular team, I would. If your other players have to extend themselves a little bit more, so what? You get 11 days to heal up before your next
they're
game.
young. Of course, they're young.
Exactly. Well, Robert Quinn is not considered young, but I'm saying Josh Sweat is. Yep. How old is Reddick? What is Reddick? 30?
Reddick's young. Yep. I don't even think he's 30 yet.
He's not 30 yet?
Nah. I'm going to say he's like 27.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So, you got plenty of time to heal up, so, it's all hands on deck tonight, because of where we are. We don't have the mobile home on 2 legs tonight, to help plug the middle.
I love that, by the way. I love the mobile home. Yeah, Reddick's 28 for what it's worth.
Oh, he's 28. Okay.
Yeah. So, you're not concerned there.
Him not being in there, that definitely has an effect. But it's just so happened we're not on a team in which you need that effect to stop.
Yeah, if it was, I would say if it's somebody else, you might say
Dallas,
suck it up. We need
Giants.
Yeah, right. Agreed.
You don't need that.
That'll be interesting. All right, I wanted to hit you guys with this. Meant to get to it yesterday. We had a lot going on. But you look at the offseason acquisitions, and it's a lot of home runs here, okay? First off, there's a lot to choose from. But they went out and they got A.J. Brown in a trade. They signed Hassan Reddick. They signed James Bradbury. They make a trade for C.J. Gardner-Johnson. They signed Kaiser White. They signed Zach Pascal. Just to name a couple. I'm sure I'm missing some other names. But, significant. I would say of those names, AJ, Reddick, Bradbury, Gardner-Johnson, and Kaiser White. And Pascal isn't making much of an impact simply because the Eagles are loaded at the position. But they're all home runs. Like, they're all major contributors. No one you would look at out of that group and you say, it paid too much or whatever, or shouldn't have given all what they gave up. Who's had the biggest impact? Is it easy? Is it just A.J. Brown without a thought?
Ooh.
I would say yes.
Yeah.
I would say yes as far as team and how they conceptually think of themselves after that trade going forward. They were all in after that. But I mean, you could even ask that question from the defensive side of the ball. I would rather you ask the question from a defensive side.
Okay,
of the ball.
let's go. All right, let's forget offense for a minute. Let's forget AJ. Let's go to the defensive side. So if your choices are Reddick, Kaiser White, Bradbury, Gardner-Johnson, who would it be out of that grouping?
Kaiser White. Okay.
I would say Bradbury.
I
would go Bradbury. Because you gave this team another lockdown corner on the other side. Most teams are fortunate to have one so-called lockdown corner that you move around a lot. With this team, you don't have to move your corners. You have equal lockdown corners on both sides of the ball, and they're both playing at a Pro Bowl level right now. And I think because of that, the way Bradbury has complemented Darius Slay and their secondary, it has allowed the guys up front to do a lot of what they do in terms of getting to the quarterback, because the quarterbacks, for the most part, have had to hold the ball a lot longer than they wanted to. They've thoroughly disrupted a lot of timing patterns on offense, which has contributed to why the Eagles are one of the top teams in quarterback sacks. I don't know where they are right now. I know they're at least in the top
third
6 or 7.
Third or fourth.
Are they third or fourth now?
Yeah.
Well, after 6 on Sunday. So, yeah, I think
they
Bradbury
played one less game than some teams. So keep that in mind. Yep.
Yeah, so I think definitely Bradbury.
Man, and that's tough because you look. Sometimes it's not always the statistics that keep you from that keep you from saying this guy or that guy. Because you look at a Kaiser White and what his impact is. He's taking care of it in the middle of that defense, man. He's doing a lot of things that are not seen, taking on blocks, able to cover tight ends and running backs who used to kill us back in the day on the wheel routes and things of that nature. It's the unseen things that's making him a great player that we're not even taking notice of. He also has a pick. But then you look at, CJ. He's got, 3 picks now? 4 picks. He's kind of solidified that safety position. We're not holding our breath anymore because of him. But then you look at Hassan Reddick. He's leading the team in sacks. He's given us sack production we haven't had in years. So, man, that is just so hard, man.
Eagles are fifth in sacks. I'm looking at it now, but they played a less game than some of these teams. So Dallas has 33, San Fran 26, Tampa 25, Denver 24, Eagles 23. So,
so how many did we have last year?
29, I believe.
Yeah, they were second to last, I think, in sacks.
Yep. We got 23 right now
already.
Yeah. I'm gonna go Hassan. I'm gonna go Hassan simply because he's changed how offensive coordinators look at how they're gonna defend us, as opposed to where they used to defend us. That they didn't even worry about sacks or anything else when they played us years past. The last 2 years, 3 years actually. So
I think you can make a good case for Gardner-Johnson too, with the amount he's taking the ball away. The Eagles went from the worst team taking the ball away to the best. So that is a big piece of this thing as well. It's a great discussion because it's, especially you're right on the defensive side. It's a great discussion because there's a lot of guys you could make a case for. I mean, we just argued 3-4 different guys. That's
absolutely
great. That's a great sign. It really is. All right, so we'll come back and Sheil Kapadia is going to be joining us. We'll talk to Sheil about the Birds, of course, mix in some Phillies as well. with Shield. Don't go anywhere. Derek Barrett, Rob, we are Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. Let's talk about Flynn Tree Services. Flynn Tree Services is an experienced, licensed, and insured Pennsylvania tree services company that will trim or remove any unwanted trees off of your property. They offer cost-effective solutions to any tree problem that you may face. So if you have any type of tree issues in your yard or your property, if you do, they're just a quick phone call away. They are experts at trimming all types of trees and serve southeastern Pennsylvania, South Jersey, and northern Delaware. Flynn Tree Services specializes in tree removal, stump grinding, as well as tree pruning. Keep in mind, we're in that time of year, right? Winds, heavy rains. You never know what could quite happen. We had the hurricane not that long ago, and the effect that had, sadly, on a lot of folks. But it's a good time to get your trees evaluated right now, just from a safety perspective. Go to their Facebook or Instagram page for more information or a sampling of their work. Give Flynn Tree Services a call at 610-850-2848, 610-850-2848, or online at flynntreeservices.com. That's flynntreeservices.com.
Go to get your game on. Go for the beers. Go for the cheers. Go for the hit and the hits. Go for the stakes and the stakes. Go to get your parlay on. Go to get your party on. Go for the scene. Go for the screens. Go for the gallery. Go for the win. Go to Ocean. Visit theoceanac.com to plan your visit.
Since 1977 at Rafferty Subaru, we have always been about our customers and the community. Early on, a safe and durable option, we've evolved to become the best overall brand according to Kelley Blue Book. Over the last 14 years, we've donated thousands of dollars through the Subaru Share the Love event and found homes for hundreds of pets. The Rafferty family is proud of our 45 years in business. This month, celebrate our anniversary with special financing on select models. Visit us and see why.
The greatest fans on earth. It's a bold statement, but would you expect anything less from Philadelphia? 58 years of heartache creates a toughness, a grit, a resolve not found in most. Sure, our prayers were answered, but now that we've had a taste, we're looking for more. Pondley Hockey, official partner of the Philadelphia Eagles.
Welcome to Pondley Hockey. We've helped over 100,000 injured and disabled workers obtain benefits, as well as some of the biggest settlements in the state. If you've been injured at work, give Pondley Hockey a call.
Philly sports fans, I'm Tom Giordano from Pondley Hockey Giordano. First and foremost, thank you for watching the Pondley Hockey postgame show. But right now, we're giving away tickets to the World Series. Follow Pondley Hockey on Instagram and check out our posts for your chance to win tickets to all 3 Phillies home games. Go Phillies and go Birds.
Sports Take is back. Derek Gunn, Barrett Brooks, Rob Ellis hanging out with you on what is going to be a quite eventful night. And we thought, you know what, who better to turn to? And let me give you this little information first before we get going. So he just tweeted these out. These are sage words. All right. He tweeted this out about 22 minutes ago. Big night approaching. Your afternoon checklist. Hydrate. Stretch your hammies. Stock the fridge for emotional eating. Stock the fridge for celebrating. Tell work you'll be late tomorrow because you have a thing. Be purposely vague as to not invite additional questions. That is the kind of wisdom that you only get from Sheil Kapadia. Sheil is the winner. Sheer brilliance, man. Sheer freaking brilliance.
That's the best ride I've seen in a long time, bro.
I'm telling you.
Hey, that's what I'm here for. I might not give you much insight on the Eagles or football, but those little life quirks, man, I can deliver.
Yes.
Sheil, how do you come up with this stuff, man?
A lifelong of sitting on a chair and watching sports, I guess. You live for nights like this. I mean, you got to have your 2 screens. You got to plan ahead. I'm getting older, so the stretching, you got to make sure everything's got to be taken care of by the time 8 o'clock hits tonight.
You know what? You know what? You're telling the truth, because there are times when I sit for a long period of time watching a game, and then you think, oh, I'm going to get something. Oh, commercial break. I want to get something from the fridge. You get up and you go, oh, hold on. And you get up a lot slower.
Yeah.
You ease up, and it's like you stretch, and by the time you stretch out, the game's back, and you miss going in the fridge.
Play hurt, Cutter. You got to play hurt, man.
Where'd that muscle come from? I haven't felt that muscle in so long.
Exactly.
Well, Sheila, I gotta ask you. I'll pose the question that Derek posed to us earlier. I get your take on this. You don't have a choice. It's not, hey, one's on the TV, one's on my laptop or my tablet or whatever. You got to watch one tonight. Is it Game 5 of the World Series? Is it the Eagles and the Texans? What are you watching?
For me, it's the Phillies. It's the World Series. It's Game 5. I mean, Eagles are 14-point favorites. If something crazy happens in that game, I can catch up afterwards. I like watching the film anyway, so that'll be 2 days later. I'll be caught up by the time next week rolls around. So, hey, the World Series doesn't roll around often. Games against inferior opponent on a Thursday night, you're going to get that pretty much every year. So it's tough. I mean, I know Eagles are still king in this town. I get it. So we'll see what other people think. But for me, it would be the Phillies for sure.
There's absolutely no letdown you see from this team anyways, so you kind of know they kind of wrapped up. What is your sense on how you're feeling this team and the makeup of this team going forward, even with this Thursday night?
Yeah, it's like you said, Barrett. I was thinking, like, they really haven't had letdowns. They might have a half here, a quarter here. But if you look at the rest of the league, I mean, that happens in pretty much any game you watch. Even look at the Bills last Sunday night against the Packers. They're in complete control of that game, and it ends up being like a 10-point win. It's not like they won by 30. So I think it starts with the quarterback. Honestly, I know I don't know if fans get tired of some of his messagings and his sayings in the press conferences, but he does have that right mental framework that coaches love, where it's just like, you don't have to really worry about his head getting too big. You don't have to worry about him looking ahead to the next week or harping on last week. I mean, he's got the mindset that coaches are like obsessed with and what they want in every player. So I think it starts with him, and they just seem prepared every week. I mean, they're crushing opponents in the first half. I think they have the best margin, leading in the first half of any team in the NFL. So they've come out prepared every week. Maybe this will be the week that's the exception, but there's no reason to really predict that or think it's going to happen.
Shield, I said Jalen's going home to Houston, and he's going to want to put on a show in front of the hometown fans.
Yeah, absolutely. And they're set up to do it. I mean, this is an inferior opponent. This is a predictable defense. You kind of know what they're going to do. They're going to play a lot of cover 2 with Lovie Smith. They're going to try to rush with 4. This isn't a game where you're going to be throwing all sorts of exotic blitzes at Jalen Hurts. So it's kind of a good opponent to have on a short week. This should, not that any week of prep is easy, but in terms of what you could be facing, this should be a little less complicated. And Hurts should be set up for a big game. I mean, with the weapons he has, with the offensive line he has, with the lack of pass rush that the Texans have, there should be a lot of points from the Eagles tonight. I would be surprised if there wasn't.
Shield, back to Hurts. Was that one of the things that made them, want to take him where they took him? Was just the in talking to him, the mindset? I mean, did that really come through in the interview process for them when they decided to take him in the second round?
Well, it's funny when you think back at that time. They didn't draft Jalen Hurts envisioning this was going to happen. And I don't know if they would still be honest about it. They were certainly honest about it at the time, where they thought, you know what, we're going to need a backup for Carson Wentz who we can rely on. He's had some injury issues. We just signed him to a big contract. If we can get a quarterback on a rookie contract who's not expensive, who we can lean on, who has those intangibles, like you mentioned, the work ethic, he's going to be a good teammate, then that's a good investment for us in the second round. It wasn't this guy's going to replace Carson Wentz and be in talks for MVP discussion. So I think they definitely liked his makeup, liked his intangibles, Nick Saban, Lincoln Riley, whoever you talk to. That's never been a question with this guy. It was always, we don't know what his ceiling is. Whatever his ceiling is, he's probably going to reach it because he's going to pour everything he has into it.
You think Gannon's going to go in and start working on some stuff that he may need to work on, use later on, like maybe blitzing, maybe try to get this young quarterback be kind of source of, as far as being, maybe a practice guy to blitz against?
It's a good question about how they're going to handle that, because last week they come out against the Steelers, and that first sack they had with Hassan Reddick on third down, where he just, planted Kenny Pickett into the ground. That was a sort of blitz stunt that they hadn't shown all year long, so that was not something that the Steelers could be prepared for. So it's like, you save some of that stuff for those games against Aaron Rodgers and Dak Prescott and maybe the Giants, or do you say, you know what, let's get some reps at it, and now these teams that we play going forward, they're going to need to account for even more stuff from us. So based on last week, I think it's right what you would say, Barrett, that, yeah, they'll just, if they're experimenting with some stuff, or if they worked on some stuff during the bye week and said, hey, let's give this a shot, that maybe they'll kind of unveil it tonight, try to get out to an early lead.
Hey, Sheil, with Jordan Davis out for a minimum 4 weeks, which we believe is going to be longer when you're talking about a high ankle sprain, especially with a guy who's 6'6", 330 pounds. And, of course, Brandon Graham's bothered by the hamstring issue. How much do you think that's going to affect the rotation? Because I'm thinking some other guys are going to have to step up and play a few more minutes.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think someone like Marlon Tuipulotu, who first couple games of the season, yeah, I nailed it, right?
There you go.
He looked pretty good, and since then he hasn't looked great. But someone's going to have to play that nose tackle position when they're kind of in those 5 across fronts, and they're saying, all right, we're lined up to stop the run. That's been Jordan Davis every week. So whether it's Tuipulotu, whether it's Javon Hargrave kind of moving into that role, sort of where he played last year, someone's going to have to pick up the slack there. Their run defense is probably not going to be as, it hasn't been great, but it's probably, you're going to have some more holes. I wouldn't be surprised if they gave up some more runs here in the next, like you mentioned, 4, 6, 8 weeks, whatever it is. But then you zoom out and you look at the health they've had. There are 12 defensive players who have played more snaps than Jordan Davis, and all those guys are healthy and on the field. So, I saw Barrett's knocking on his table or wood over there. You never know. That's the thing with some of these games against the Texans. It's like they're 14-point favorites. You think they're going to win. Maybe they'll have a little letdown and it'll be a little close. But the big thing is injuries. They just have so many key players who are playing at such a high level on this team. You're undefeated. You've got a manageable schedule. You just kind of have to have your fingers crossed that you can stay healthy in the second half of the season.
Sheil, a lot of the times when we have these discussions, we limit it to the NFC. Are the Eagles the best team in the NFC? And we sort of say, yeah, but we know it's Buffalo and Kansas City. I'll ask you, let's open this up to the NFL. Are they the best team in the NFL thus far?
I would probably have them third if you just said, hey, these teams are going to play on a neutral field this weekend. Who's favored? Who do you think is going to win? I would still put the Bills and the Chiefs ahead of them. I don't think it's a huge margin. I just look at those two quarterbacks, and they're just like elevators. You can drop them on any roster in the NFL. It doesn't matter who's playing wide receiver. It doesn't matter who's playing offensive line. Those teams are probably going to make the playoffs. And the situations they're in are pretty good. The Chiefs figured it out without Tyreek Hill. That might come back to bite them at some point in a game. We haven't seen it yet. Their offense has been unbelievable. And then Josh Allen, we've all watched. The guy just looks unstoppable. He's so competitive. Even when your pass rush gets home, he's throwing safeties to the ground and is so physical. So because of those two guys, I just feel like they're playing quarterback at another level compared to really anyone in the NFL right now. Not that Hurts hasn't been really good. He has, but I put those guys on kind of another level right now, and I would give them an edge.
Were you happy with the, of course we got Robert Quinn, but, not getting anybody by the trade deadline? Were you happy with that? Were you cool with that?
I thought it was fine. Yeah, I was looking at it and I said, if they can add, I was looking more with the injury thing than, hey, adding a player who could definitely help.
Right.
I was kind of like, if you can get a veteran safety in there, a third safety.
That's why he makes the big bucks. That's exactly what I've been saying,
Yeah. Like Corey Graham during the Super Bowl year, that type of guy who, all right, this guy's not going to play 50, 60 snaps a game. But, man, if Chauncey Gardner-Johnson goes down, if Epps goes down, you have someone you can slide in, because I don't think they have anyone like that on the roster who I really trust. You look at kind of the guys they can least afford to lose. Those aren't their best players, Gardner-Johnson and Epps, but they might be their most indispensable players just because of what's behind them. You would really, in my opinion, see quite a drop-off if one of those two guys went down. So I didn't see a safety get moved, so I can't crush him for it. If somebody got traded and I said, why didn't the Eagles do that deal? Then I would have that discussion more, but no veteran safeties got moved. And then running back was the other area. I thought, kind of like that Jay Ajayi trade, again, going back to the Super Bowl year, if you can just add a complimentary back, some insurance in case Miles Sanders goes down, I thought that would have made sense, but there wasn't a deal that they liked or really a deal league-wide. Kareem Hunt didn't get moved. David Montgomery didn't get moved. Those were a couple of guys I thought might have made sense for us.
Sheila, we had this debate a little while ago, and I want to get your input on this. We were talking about the best addition to this Eagles defense. When you look at Bradbury, Kazir White, Hassan Reddick, CJ, who do you think, if you had to pick one, was the best addition on this defense?
Yeah, when you reeled off the names, the two that went to the top of the list in my head were Reddick and Bradbury. I'd have to go Bradbury. I mean,
there you go.
Outstanding this year. And listen, sometimes you get lucky because remember, they got Bradbury late in, I forget what month it was, but it was after a lot of the, chips that had fallen around the league. And so Bradbury didn't get to just be a free agent and say, all right, go to the highest bidder or really draw a big market. I mean, it was after teams had spent a lot of their money. And so they got very fortunate that he got released. And the guy's been fantastic. I mean, I think back to that Jaguars game, the interception he had in the red zone there against Trevor Lawrence really is one of their bigger plays of the year. The Jaguars were coming back. I think they could have taken the lead or certainly made it close. And the guy looked wide open. Doug Peterson dialed up a great play. And Bradbury just has that savvy. He's had all those reps that he said, okay, I know what route combination's coming my way. I'm peeling off my guy. And he makes the interception in the red zone. And so it's been funny. I mean, last week, how often did the Steelers test James Bradbury? I mean, they're throwing at him over and over and over again, double moves, and he's coming through every single time. So that's another one like safety where, man, if Bradbury or Slay goes down, now all of a sudden I think your defense is going to look a lot different. So Reddick has been fantastic, but I think if Reddick weren't there, you still have guys who can fill in and you still have a good defensive line. If they didn't get Bradbury, I think we'd probably be talking right now, his cornerback, is a little bit shaky for him.
Right. Sheila, what concerns you the most here as we head down the stretch? There's been a lot to like, right? And sometimes we get really nitpicky with this, but if there's something that you say, when they start playing some big opponents, playoffs, et cetera, what worries you about this team?
Yeah, special teams has been a little bit sloppy. I don't want to go totally off the board with someone no one cares. But, sometimes when you lose a game where you're a favorite or something, it's you muffed a punt or you missed a field goal or something got blocked. So that's been a little sloppy. It seems like there's one play every week where you go, what's going on with special teams? And defensively, I just wish they had like Mahomes or Allen or a high-powered offense on the schedule in the next 3 or 4 weeks so we can really get that measuring stick game. All right, how good is this defense? Yeah, they're beating up on Kenny Pickett and Davis Mills, and don't get me wrong, you play who's on your schedule. I still have little kernels of doubt that when they face a high-powered offense, that the defense is definitely going to come through and definitely going to be able to create those turnovers like they've been creating so far this season.
I love the fact that, we as Philly fans, we've always got that little glimmer of doubt. When we got an ass-kicking team in front of us, we always had that glimmer. I mean, it's just a little sense that, all right, it might not be. But, I mean, you're right. You can't get really an accurate assessment of who they are because of the talent that they're playing. These are still NFL guys playing on these rosters. Now, you can take any one of the guys on these rosters and put them up against somebody really out in the street, and they'll, it'll be a bloodbath, So, but still, though, I can't see past this team looking past somebody because of what their record is or what people think they are. I think they'll still cross their T's and dot their I's as they go forward because of the guys they have, because you got a quarterback who's actually a coach. I mean, he in how he conceptualized how he's supposed to be as a player. You got leadership that been to big dance before and know what it takes to get there. I just think they're built in all the right places with the right makeup and of what you need as a team.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, the proof is there. They come out against these teams. They're big favorites and they take care of business. I mean, that Cardinals game is really the only one, I guess you could say, that it got a little tight down the stretch there. But, that's Kyler Murray. That's a guy who can make plays. And so they really haven't had a game where you just come out and you guys are on here talking or I'm talking on my podcast. Why weren't they prepared? What was the coaching staff doing this week? we haven't had that game, and that's a credit to Nick Sirianni, the coaching staff, the players, like Barrett mentioned.
Sheil, one of our favorite topics to debate is the overall performance of the one and only Jonathan Gannon. You know, they have their opinions. See, Rob's already smirking. They have their opinion. I have mine. I want a professional assessment of what Jonathan Gannon has done with this defense up to this point.
He's done a good job. It's been better than last year. It's an improved unit, no doubt. I'm not going to hand him the crown and say defensive coordinator.
Yeah, there you go.
Just yet, I'm not there. I'm not there yet. I mean, and part of it, it's not his fault. But again, it's like I said, you know, so the teams you're facing. I mean, Trevor Lawrence in the rain. You know, to draw Phillies in that, he looked like Sir Anthony Dominguez in the rain there. I mean, come on. And any defense, you know, he literally could not hold on to the football when the guy is literally just dropping the football and handing you 2 turnovers. Am I going to credit the defense, or am I going to let my eyes tell the story? All right, they didn't have a lot to do with that. And so they just, you know, Cooper Rush you get with the Cowboys. You're getting Kenny Pickett. You're getting Davis Mills this week again. You play who you play.
Preach it, brother. Preach it.
I'm trying to walk the fine line. You know, I think we'll learn more in the second half. It's not like they have a great schedule. They're not facing Mahomes. They're not facing Josh Allen. But you know what? The Cowboys with Dak Prescott, you shut them down, I'm going to say, okay, I'm going to absolutely give you credit for that. Even Aaron Rodgers and the Packers, I know they're not playing great, but if you come out and you take it to Aaron Rodgers and the Packers, absolutely going to give you credit for that. Even that Titans game is sort of a sleeperish game on the schedule. I mean, that's a well-coached team. And Derrick Henry right now, I mean, it looks like he's 25 years old. I don't know how he's still doing it. But if he's healthy and there for that game and Tannehill's healthy and you shut them down, I'll give you credit there. But, you know, we have the library in our minds of what last year, what it looked like. We see what it looks like this year. And honestly, I view the defense as more of a Howie Roseman victory than a Jonathan Gannon victory, what we've seen so far.
Well said.
They're stacked. I mean, come on. I really feel like, you know, you could take a lot of different defensive coordinators, hand them this talent and this schedule, and the defense is going to look pretty good. So, again, credit. He's adjusted. He's improved. I've liked what I've seen so far. I'm not going to go all in on this defense is amazing until I see a little bit more. That's just kind of how I see it.
Mr. Ellis, you've just heard a professional assessment. Your rebuttal is?
I think Sheil, like you, will understand when like I'll wave to Sheil and I'll honk on the Gann wagon when we're driving. I'm not even saying hi to, Derek. And Sheil is always welcome to come on. There's plenty of time. We'll get him on. And he can sit up front too. He can sit right up while I'm driving this thing.
I'm sitting in the bushes.
Barrett and
I'm sniping the wheels on that Gann wagon.
It's not right. Sheil, let me ask you, NFC. I know I did the AFC thing earlier, but biggest threat in the NFC to you, is it the Cowboys or is it somebody like the 49ers? Are we ignoring the Vikings too much? Who's the biggest threat in the NFC for you?
I think it's a 3-team race, and I think the Cowboys are legit. And I think last time I came on, I was really just ripping the cow. Dak Prescott had just gotten injured, and I said you can bury him. And they survived that. And so I was totally wrong about what was going to happen once Dak Prescott went down. And so I think the Cowboys are a really good team. I think they're among the 3. I think the 49ers are the other team. So you look at those 3 with the Eagles, I really think one of those 3 teams is going to be representing the NFC in the Super Bowl. I mean, the Cowboys, the defense is legit. Prescott looked really good last week. Tony Pollard, if they let him play, looks like a dynamic back who's capable of, you know, an explosive run anytime he touches the ball. They've gotten healthier. Michael Gallup, the wide receivers, back. And so they're playing well. And the 49ers, it's all about health. And they've got a lot of players who have suffered injuries in the past. Christian McCaffrey, Deebo Samuel, George Kittle, even Garoppolo. If all those guys get good injury luck here the next couple months, that offense is going to be a lot to deal with. And we know what DeMeco Ryan, I mean, you want to talk about a defensive coordinator who's doing kind of more with less. DeMeco Ryan's the last 2 years, I mean, he's at the top of that list where they suffer all kinds of injuries, and it doesn't matter. They come out and they play well almost every week. They've had a little letdown here and there, but that's a great defense. And so I think they're well coached. I think they're talented. I think those are going to be the 3 teams when we get to January, the playoffs, and we're saying, all right, who's actually going to get there? It'll be one of those 3 teams.
Have you heard anybody that got moved up, you know, since they put Davis on the IR? I mean, who'd they move up? I was thinking they're going to move up Marvin Wilson.
Yeah, I don't know if they've actually done that. I don't think they have. I could be wrong about that, but that would make sense. Just another, they didn't trade for a veteran nose tackle or anything at the deadline. They kind of just need another body in there, sort of a run stuffing, a two gapping nose tackle if they can. And so I wouldn't be surprised if they made some kind of move like that just to account for all the snaps.
All right, Shield, before we get you out of here, man, your thoughts on the Phils. It was a rough one last night, obviously, but it's been that kind of year. They get knocked down. They typically dust themselves off. Huge one tonight. Syndergaard, kind of bullpen deal. Verlander, what do you think?
Listen, Justin Verlander is my age. I mean, do I look like I could go strike out Bryce Harper right now? Justin Verlander, come on. Verlander, they got to him in game one. He's 0-6 in the World Series in his career with the ERA over 5. They're going to get to Verlander again. There'll be some ups and downs. It's going to be a tense game. You only get, one stress-free game a series. But I think the bats will come alive tonight. I think they're probably so annoyed and frustrated and embarrassed about what happened last night. They've got players. We've seen it before at home. So I think they win tonight, go back to Houston, up 3-2. My initial pick was Phillies in 7. So I'm just going to stick with that. Let's get to a 7 game. Everyone will be biting their nails, but that's part of the fun. So I'm going to stick with that prediction.
Well, I'm just going to tell you the best analysis I got from you today is make sure you have plenty of food for your nervous eating and your winning and celebrated eating. So.
Yeah, what's the distinction between the I need the food groupings for the nervous eating versus celebratory eating.
Yeah, somebody else asked it. The emotional eating to me is more like you got some leftover pizza, some leftover pasta, maybe a hoagie, a leftover hoagie on the table. You go to the kitchen, you're just like, this night's not going my way. You pound it. I think the celebratory is more, maybe you steal the kids' Halloween candy. Maybe you got some brownies. Maybe there's a pint of ice cream in there. Nice. If you like to have a drink or two, it's more the alcohol version of it. So that's how I see it. But listen, if anyone sees it differently, you can do it however you see fit.
I like it. Sheil, great stuff, man. We love your work on The Ringer, of course. Sheil both writes and he podcasts. You can check that out at Ringer or at Spotify, wherever. But he does an amazing job. Follow him on Twitter at Sheil Kapadia. Sheil, appreciate it, man. Always fun catching up.
Thanks, bro.
All right, thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Take care. You got it. That is Sheil Kapadia. He's funny, dude, man. Yeah, I saw that tweet. I'm like, I gotta read this out to the people, man. He's so dead on. Stretch, hydrate, all the food groupings that he has to go through. It's hilarious, man. But he's a trip. That's for sure. All right, Gunner, you got to get out of here. I know
is that right? Yeah. Jeff Bezos bought the Commanders.
Well, he has.
I don't know this.
Yeah, he's. There's reports that he's looking into it because of everything that's going on.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, who knows what's real? I mean, that's floating around on social media. You take that for what it's worth. It's on social media. You never quite know what's real and what isn't. But I think we are headed towards them being sold, which we can get into in the next segment for sure. But I think it's headed that direction. All right, so Gunnar, tell everybody where they can catch you tonight. What are your roles? What are your responsibilities?
Yeah, if you're in the area, I'm getting ready to get out of here now. Head down to Atlantic City to Ocean Casino, where we do all of our pre- and post-game shows from. The pre-game show, Mark Farzetta, Seth Joyner, myself. Post-game show, when the game's all said and done, it will be Seth, myself, Mike Missinelli, and Devin Caney. If you're in the area, come on down, say hi as you're passing by the stage. We obviously can't get up and mingle with you and stuff like that, but that's where I'm heading, brother.
Cool.
And my lovely bride is going to accompany me this time.
Ooh, we got a little Trish sighting. I like it.
Yes, she's going to be on the road with me. Slow down, speed up.
Yeah, so, you'll be getting yelled at with your crazy driving.
Yes, I got my front seat driver with me, man.
All right, man. Well, have fun, and we'll do this same time tomorrow, man. So you have a safe trip. All right.
Enjoy. All right, guys. You guys have a good rest of the show.
You got it.
All right, bro.
Begun. Barrett and I don't go anywhere. We'll come back with some NFL talk. We will dive into some things that have gone down, some extensions handed out for guys who got traded, power rankings of the NFC. We'll get into who did best on the trade deadline, all that good stuff is in store when we get back. Don't go anywhere. Barrett Brooks, Rob Ellis. We are Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. All right, let's talk about Razor technology and data estate. Data is everywhere in business today, but when it's locked away in silos, it can't be efficiently used, and businesses don't have time to wait for the insights that shape decision-making. Razor Technologies data management not only integrates data from wherever it's generated or collected, but provides a uniform structure for storing, interpreting, and distributing it to decision makers. Razor helps businesses transform and model their data, use it to populate real-time dashboards, and create shareable reports that highlight key areas of progress as well as warning signs in need of attention. Smart data analytics and tools make data insights easily digestible and help all businesses of any size, any type, to discover where they could be untapping significant savings. Razor technology can help you break down your silos and fully realize the value of your data to drive growth to your business. Learn more. Contact Razor Tech today at 866-797-3282, 866-797-3282, or visit them online at razor-tech.com. That's razor-tech.com.
Philly sports fans, I'm Tom Giordano from Ponley Hockey Giordano. First and foremost, thank you for watching the Ponley Hockey postgame show. But right now, we're giving away tickets to the World Series. Follow Ponley Hockey on Instagram and check out our posts for your chance to win tickets to all 3 Phillies home games. Go Phillies and go Birds.
Welcome to Ponley Hockey, the largest workers' compensation law firm in Pennsylvania. With over 250 years of combined courtroom experience, we've helped over 100,000 injured and disabled workers obtain benefits, as well as some of the biggest settlements in the state. Even better, Ponley Hockey doesn't charge a dime until you win. If you've been injured at work, give Ponley Hockey a call.
Go to get your game on. Go for the beers. Go for the cheers. Go for the hit and the hits. Go for the stakes and the stakes. Go to get your parlay on. Go to get your party on. Go for the scene. Go for the screens. Go for the gallery. Go for the win. Go to Ocean. Visit theoceanac.com to plan your visit.
It's a fall car fest, and Jeff D'Ambrosio, Destination Downingtown, says, yes, you can. Jeff says, yes, you can choose from over 1,000 vehicles in stock with no wait. Yes, you can still get low prices, leases, and big discounts. Yes, you can still get low interest financing. And Jeff always says, yes, you can have a real deal buying experience without the hassle. When the other dealers say, no, you can't, Jeff says, yes, you can. Jeff D'Ambrosio, Destination Downingtown. Nobody treats you better. Jeep Adventure Days.
Philadelphia fans, we're cut from a different cloth. Born into a brotherhood and bonded to our team for life. We believe anything is possible because we've witnessed the impossible. While we may be from different neighborhoods, come Sunday, we are one and we will be heard. Ponley Hockey, official partner of the Philadelphia Eagles.
Back, everybody. Rob Ellis hanging out with you on this Thursday. Barrel will be joining us momentarily. Derek on the road, headed down to Ocean Casino Resort for the pre- and post-game show on JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. Talked to Shio Kapadia moments ago. If you want to catch up with that interview, if you missed any of it, very easy. Just go to jakibsports.com. All the interviews that we do, or you go to JAKIB Sports YouTube Network, where you can catch our shows in their entirety. You want to watch portions of it, whatever the case may be. We got you covered. So wondering about the cup color. We got the clear one today. Thank you, Gigi. Cheers to everybody out there. Hey, let's hit the like button. I'm getting reports that while we have a lot of people watching and a lot of people hanging out on the stream and in the chat section, not a ton of likes. So let's jump on that. We haven't made much of a concerted effort there lately, but let's Let's hit that like button for sure. So, yeah, Barrett will be joining us soon. There he is. So we talked a lot about the Phillies early. We talked about the Eagles after that as they have their game tonight, and we have double dip tonight, which will make for a fascinating, night and day tomorrow. We're with you at the same time as always, the three of us. But a couple things from an NFL perspective, Barrett. So now the league is looking into Daniel Snyder and the Commanders for financial improprieties, basically cooking the books, if you will. This will be the fastest thing to get him out of there. As much as horrible as the
exactly,
the sexual stuff and the harassment and all that, and it's despicable, right? This stuff is where Goodell and the other owners are going to say, "Hey, let's go." If this guy's cooking books,
you can't mess with money. That. Anytime you want to find out what's going on, the money always points directly to it.
Yeah,
that'll get you out there fatter. It'll get you out there faster than any other thing.
No question. So that's something to keep your eye on. I mean, I found it. We were talking about this yesterday. He's not just all of a sudden coincidentally now deciding to sell this team. He knows something's coming. Like it's going to be either sell it or it's going to get bad for you publicly, or sell it or we're going to take it away from you. You have the option. It's kind of like sometimes a company will force somebody to quit or to retire early or step away rather than firing them. It feels like that. Like
it's kind of the same thing that happened to, Deshaun Watson.
Yeah.
You either, go off peacefully or we're going to make you go off peacefully.
Right. Take the suspension.
Exactly
Don't fight it. Yeah. So we'll see how that goes in Washington. Bradley Chubb, you figured with what Miami gave up for him, that there was probably going to be an extension. I would imagine that's going to apply to more of these guys as well that teams traded for. But
same thing happened with AJ Brown.
Right, exactly right. Very, very good example of that. Yeah, so he signs a 5-year, $110 million extension that can go to 111.25. Man, he got paid. He did get paid.
Is he? Is that the highest paid defensive lineman right now?
I don't think he's making more than Aaron Donald, is he? I don't think so.
Donald signed 99, didn't he?
What was it, less year? It may be, yeah, he may be making Donald more per year, but Chubb's only 26. I thought he was still in his rookie deal. I thought he was older than that. I thought he was close to 30. Man, he's not. Only 26. So
where was he? He went to Chubb went to North Carolina State or something like that.
Chubb went. Where did Chubb go? Let me see where he went. That's a good question. I think he did go to NC State. He is NC State. Yep, NC State. He was the 5th pick overall in 18 coming out of NC State.
So this is his 5th year.
He's in the last year of his deal.
5th year, and they got all the way. See, once you're a first rounder, especially first rounder that high, and you make it to your 5th year, that means you kind of underplayed. You know what I'm saying? As that, the pick in that place.
Yeah.
You underserved your contract. Because usually when you're that high, you don't make it to your 5th year.
They re-up you.
You get re-upped.
Yeah.
And for him not to be re-upped, that has more to do with him underperforming in his contract, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, like he has 5.5 sacks this year, which is it's still pretty good. He ranks 3rd in the NFL with a 25.8 pass rush win rate. He's also been banged up. He's had injuries over the past 3 years. He's missed. This is the issue, Barrett, right here. He's missed 24 of 49 games.
Come on.
Entering this year. He had a torn ACL, a bone spur in his ankle. That's really what it is. It's a matter of, can this guy hold up?
Right. That's a great contract, though. 5 years, $110 million.
Yeah, he got paid. That's for sure. So lost another great one, Ray Guy, the punter. How about this, Barrett? You ready for this, or Ray Guy? He was 72 years old. He passed away. Great punter for the Raiders. He was a 1st-round pick.
Yes. I remember that.
He was taken in the first round in the 1973 draft. The Raiders, Al Davis got killed for doing it. Like,
right.
What are you doing? He turned on. He's the greatest punter that's ever lived. I mean, he is. He's in the Hall of Fame. You look at his averages. You look at the amount of times. I was reading this today. The amount of time he dropped it inside the 20 in his career is stunning. Like, this guy could do whatever he wanted out there. He was incredible. I'll see if I can pull it up. He played 14 years. Yeah, he played 14 years, all with the Raiders. 3-time Pro Bowl selection. In 2014, he became the first punter to be inducted in the Hall of Fame. 7-time Pro Bowl selection. He's on the 100th anniversary team, all decade. He was a great athlete. He wasn't just. He's got at Southern Miss. You ready for this? He played defensive back, and he's got the school single season record for most interceptions in 1972. Okay, listen to this. He was also a field goal kicker there, and he hit a 61-yarder that year.
What?
This dude was a freak, man. I'm telling you.
Wow.
Like, people laugh at punters and all. This dude was unbelievable. He was a great athlete.
Well, they don't pull any punches. Well, they drafted a kicker in the first rounder also.
Yeah,
Janikowski.
The Polish rifle. Yeah.
Yep. Janikowski, bro. That's crazy.
So, yeah, that's a shame. He passed away. He was very tight with Ken Stabler, who died, pretty recently.
Right.
So, power rankings, Barrett, in the NFC. So, the question I have for you is, you could pass the Eagles. Where are you going 2, 3, 4? So, I'll give you mine. I go Eagles, Cowboys, 1, 2. Vikings, 3. 49ers, 4. Giants, 5. Now, here's the good news. The Eagles have beaten head-to-head the 2 and the 3 in this scenario. But
right.
I throw the 49ers in there, even though their record isn't great because they're getting healthier on defense, and McCaffrey, I think, adds a lot. He won the NFC Offensive Player of the Week, by the way. But and then you have the Giants, who took their second loss of the season this past week against the Seahawks. So I go Eagles, Cowboys, Vikings, 49ers, Giants. What would be your order here?
I would go Eagles, Dallas, 49ers.
Niners, 3.
Then Vikings, then Giants. And the reason why I would go 49ers is what they did. They went and got McCaffrey, which kind of bolstered their offense. They already had a good defense, and I think they're going to get better as they go along. They lost trying to get, turn the corner. And that was the worst game I've seen them play. And, they came back, and I think they're going to play a lot better now with McCaffrey. Hence, that's why they won the last game, because of McCaffrey. But I think the Vikings are due. They'll win the division. They won't go far in the playoffs when they get to the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody says, look who we played. Well, look who they played.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So, I think the 49ers are going to take bigger strides. They also have a weak division. So I'm going with the 49ers as number 3.
Yeah, look, that's the big thing we don't know, with the Vikings is 2 things. How's Kirk Cousins going to play in a playoff setting?
Right,
and,
right.
Rookie coach. Hard to gauge exactly what that's going to be too, how he responds in those kind of
spots.
That's
huge, the coaching, the 49ers, they've been there with their coaching staff. They know what it takes to win the division. They've been right at the edge of winning the division for the past 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
So even though they have, 2 more losses than the Vikings, I can't trust Kirk Cousins, and I can't trust the rookie coach.
Yeah, it's a big piece of this thing. And the Niners are scary, kind of dangerous. I think Dallas is too. When you have the ability to get after the quarterback, they can take the ball away too on that side of the ball. That's concerning. And I think you get Dak back and you start leaning more on Pollard down the stretch. That spells some trouble right there.
Well, it's not like they're leaning on Pollard. I think Zeke is hurt. That's the only reason why they're leaning on Pollard. Yeah. Once Zeke comes back, I think he gets right back into the rotation the same as what he was.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to hurt him, but that's just how they do things. So I mean, looking at all things being equal, the Seahawks, we should put them in front of the even the Giants. I just can't trust their defense. But man, I think they got a better quarterback than the Giants. They got a pretty good running back. I mean, that's up there with Saquon. He's just not better than Saquon. And that's the only reason why Seattle's not in front. Yeah, Kenneth Walker from Michigan State. I think that's the only reason why. And their defense is the only reason why I don't put them in front of the Giants. I think the Giants have a more solid defense. Even though they beat the Giants, I just think the Giants are better coached and have a better team than Seattle.
Yeah, Dable is definitely an X factor, and I can't, I guess I knocked O'Connell a little bit because he's a rookie and I wonder, but I just, from what I've seen from Dable, he's been able to overachieve with a limited roster.
With nothing, virtually nothing.
Yeah.
On the offensive side of the ball.
But I think you and I, like, we have this debate with Derek a lot when we do our rankings, and I think we're sort of on the same page here. Like, I want to give him credit because I think Daniel Jones has done a really solid job for them this year. He has. He's done a nice job. But I can't get past in a must-have game if they're behind. I wouldn't feel good about him trying to bring a team back. And I know he's done it a couple times this year. He's helped do it a couple times this year with Saquon. But I don't know if that happens in the playoffs or at a big spot.
Right. I just can't believe when I look at the division, how many teams we thought were going to be on the top that are just, I mean, look at it. Tampa Bay, 3 wins.
Yeah.
The Super Bowl champions last year with 3 wins. Arizona, 3 wins. That's
it's shocking. Yeah.
But then you look at teams like the Chicago Bears, they have 3 wins. We didn't expect them to have anything.
No, they're 3-5. We didn't expect, like, you could, like, if you ran through the teams that have surprised in a disappointing way, it's pretty easy. It's Green Bay at 3-5. It's Tampa Bay at 3-5. I would the Rams are 3-4.
Right.
And Carolina's 3-5. I mean, every one of those teams you figured certainly was going to be a playoff team. I mean, Arizona, maybe you could debate that a little bit, but the other ones, there's no doubt. Not only playoff teams winning their division, and like Green Bay's buried. The Vikings are 6-1. Green Bay's 3-5. Tampa's not buried because they're in a terrible division, so they still have life. But nonetheless, you watch them every week, and you keep saying to yourself, "Oh, this will be the week they'll look better," and they never look better.
Right?
They don't. They don't. And I've watched the Rams a bunch of times, and I come away with the same thing. I'm like, their line's still not good. Stafford's turning it over too much. I mean, there's a lot of things not to like here.
Yep, absolutely, man. I just don't understand it, man. How can they go in reverse? Like, I understand Green Bay. Green Bay, they let their best wide receiver go. They have young receivers. Nobody really can step up. And you look at A-Rod, he's a bitch. So, that's why I know they're bad. But then look at the Rams. Their offensive line is so bad that they can't block their way out of wet paper bag.
Yep. And they have no running game.
None whatsoever.
Yeah, there's no balance.
That's shocking to me that they're that bad. And I also think that this New Orleans team shouldn't be as bad as they are either.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't New Orleans, I don't know. I mean, I don't know how much of it is the new coach and the quarterback instability, with them. And that's another thing to factor in. I mean, but the thing is, like, if you look at it, like, all right, Eagles make the playoffs. I think the Cowboys, you could have 3 coming out of the East. So yes. Eagles, Cowboys, Giants. I don't know who gets in besides Minnesota. If Green Bay's gonna have to rally. Someone's got to come out of the South, and then your 2 teams out of the West now are feeling like it's going to be Seattle and the 49ers, and the Rams may not even make it. It's a weird conference.
I don't think the Rams will make it. Look at that South. They got 2 teams. They got 1 team that's on the rise, and that's the Falcons. Everybody else sucks, So I can't see Tampa Bay getting back into this. I think they're at a point now where, Brady's just become disinterested in playing. He's just lost the desire to want to play at that high level now. So, why would the rest of the team rally behind, this if there's nothing to work towards.
Yeah. It's a great question. I mean, if you're looking at this conference and you look at the coaches who have really done a nice job and kind of overachieved, Dable's at the head of the list. O'Connell's done a good job, in his first year. Arthur Smith, really nice job, man, to have that team at 4-4. And Pete Carroll. I mean, they're the guys. They've all done a lot with what we didn't expect to be much going into
nothing virtually. Nothing.
I mean, I thought the Vikings were probably a team where you said, hey, they could be decent, but the other ones, forget it. I thought they were bottom feeders.
Yeah. For instance, the Lions, everybody thought, because of Hard Knocks, they were going to be better than what they were.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I kept telling people, that's fool's gold, man. This is still the Lions.
Yes.
You're talking about biting kneecaps and all that. That's just not, I try to warn people. Like, look, that team is not as good as what people are saying they are. They're just not.
Mm-hmm.
And nobody wants to believe me.
No.
What you saw on Hard Knocks was like an optical illusion. It was a mirage, I just didn't see them being that good.
Derek bought into a lot of that, I think.
Yeah, he did. Yeah,
with the Hard Knocks.
Yeah, but with the linebacker, I mean, come on.
Rodrigo. Yeah. No. Yeah. I mean, look, for HBO, they got their money's worth. They got something very entertaining. Yeah,
they did. But I just, Aaron Glenn, I'm like, Aaron Glenn, he sucks.
Yeah.
I kept saying they suck. Then they play us the best game they ever have playing against us.
By far, they've been downhill. I really thought, honestly, in fairness to Derek and people who bought in them, after that game, I'm like, Detroit's kind of interesting. Like they could be in trouble. They might not make the playoffs, but they're gonna be pretty good.
And they're like, oh, do you see that linebacker? That linebacker's doing it. You saw him play against him. Like, dude, this is not a good linebacker right now. He's too young. He's got a lot of work to do. Plus, he's a little guy.
Yeah.
I don't know. Then all of a sudden, the league catches up with you real quick.
Well, you know what it was? The first 4 games, not to do a whole Lions thing here, but they lost by 3. Then they beat Washington. Then they only lost by 4, and then they lost by 3. So you're thinking, all right, it's going to be like last year. Every game's going to be close. But lately, I mean, then they lost 29-0 to New England, 24-6 to the Cowboys. Now, they played the Dolphins close last week, but they are who we thought they were going to be ultimately.
Yeah.
It's just not very good. Yeah. So a couple other odds and ends. Let me ask you, of the trade deadline deals, now the Eagles got Robert Quinn. We know that. The Ravens got Roquan Smith. The 49ers got McCaffrey. The Dolphins got Chubb. I'm just giving you sort of the headlines here. Who do you think helped themselves the most?
I'm tending to go towards the 49ers.
Yeah.
I thought their defense is already stacked, but I'm going towards the 49ers because I think McCaffrey brings that element of what they already have in Deebo Samuel. So now you have 2 of them, 2 guys that can do a bunch of different things with a tight end that's probably the best tight end in the league in Kitchens.
Right.
I just think, Garoppolo just doesn't make many mistakes. He's just a good quarterback that maintains the offense. He just runs it. But then I look at Roquan Smith going to the Ravens, and I can see him turning that defense around now. They got somebody in the middle with
huge down there. Yeah.
Yeah. So him and Queen now running, the linebacker position. I mean, both of those guys can get that defense turned in another direction now.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
he's going to help Queen. Queen has, they haven't been thrilled with him, but I still think I think there's a lot there. I think he's good. I think he's better than what he's shown them. Put it to you that way.
And then Chubb going to Miami. I just didn't think their defense was that good. Anyways, him being there, I think he's just a guy, really.
Yeah.
In that defense, he won't make that much of a difference to the defense. He'll be a good pass rusher, great pass rusher, but I don't think that's where their problem is lying.
Mm-hmm.
They have more problems with health than anything.
Yeah.
That's the only thing they have a problem with.
Yeah.
That's the quarterback's health.
Yeah, no question about that. I think the Eagles helped themselves quietly, quietly helped themselves. This is, where you really, I get a feeling he's going to get at least one tonight. I think Quinn's going to get one tonight.
Rob,
I do.
They finessed the heck out of the Chicago Bears, bro. They got him for nothing. I think his salary, I think they're paying him $750.
Oh, I know. It's unbelievable.
How does that happen? How does that happen? And then his last 2 years, they don't even have to honor him.
Yeah, I know.
He'll be a free agent.
They're scot-free. The only thing is, you gave up some draft capital, but still, if he doesn't look like he's got anything left, then you move on. Right.
But I do think he has something left. And I think he'll be great with this team and the schemes that they want to run. Mm-hmm. This is big, man. I think they really helped themselves out a lot.
Yeah.
With him being in the mix now, that's 2 pass rushers with over 10 sacks the past couple of years.
Yeah, he had 18.5 last year.
So yes, I mean that's to me that's huge, and just his ability, man, to turn. Did you see the way he was turning the corner?
Oh,
I mean, he was 2 inches from the ground and still able to keep his balance and keep going around.
Yeah, and now with a week to just be kind of all right. I know where I am, and I know what this is, and I'm getting some starting to slowly learn the system here. Kind of make some moves. Yeah, I love it.
BG, hopefully BG comes back, but they don't have to worry because I think he's good enough that he can hold his own there.
Oh, for sure, 100%. I do wonder. I'm guessing if I know Brandon Graham that he's going to dress tonight, Barrett, but I wonder if they don't keep his snaps really limited. Hope they get a lead and just sit him.
Yep.
Just try and get him through this week.
Right.
This 10, 11 days, whatever it is, against this team. I didn't look to see if that line had moved at all. It's 13.5. So it was 14 yesterday.
14,
so went down a little bit. But I think at kickoff, this thing will be 14 again. You know what? I was saying this to you guys yesterday. I was really surprised. I know the Jets lost last week, but they're home and they're almost 12-point underdogs to the Bills. And Tennessee's won 4 in a row, and they're 12.5-point underdogs at Kansas City. That tells you Vegas has no respect for what Kansas City's done. Just
wow.
None. Yep. It feels like a lot, man. That feels like a lot to be jumping on. But we'll get into tomorrow like we usually do, some of the big matchups of the week. It's kind of a hit or miss week to be frank. There's not a ton of great matchups in the NFL this weekend. Now you got your college football game this weekend.
Yes, I got Howard at North Carolina Central.
Okay.
So it's their homecoming also. It's a big game in the MEAC. The 2 best offenses in the MEAC going against each other.
Okay.
It's going to be a pretty good game. It's going to be on ESPN3.
That's great.
Yeah. So
dude, that's awesome, man. So all right, that's what we'll do when we get back. I want to hit a couple of different things. I'll tell you what the Phillies are wearing tonight, who's throwing out the first pitch tonight, how many times we've seen a team play in a World Series in baseball and have the same cities playing each other in football. We'll do that when we get back. Sixers lose, Flyers lose, birthdays, all kinds of stuff in store. You don't want to go anywhere. He's Barrett. I'm Rob. We are Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. Be right back.
Go to get your game on. Go for the beers. Go for the cheers. Go for the hit and the hits. Go for the stakes and the stakes. Go to get your parlay on. Go to get your party on. Go for the scene. Go for the screens. Go for the gallery. Go for the win. Go to Ocean. Visit theoceanac.com to plan your visit.
Since 1977 at Rafferty Subaru, we have always been about our customers and the community. Early on, a safe and durable option, we've evolved to become the best overall brand according to Kelley Blue Book. Over the last 14 years, we've donated thousands of dollars through the Subaru Share the Love event and found homes for hundreds of pets. The Rafferty family is proud of our 45 years in business. This month, celebrate our anniversary with special financing on select models. Visit us and see why.
The greatest fans on earth. It's a bold statement, but would you expect anything less from Philadelphia? 58 years of heartache creates a toughness, a grit, a resolve not found in most. Sure, our prayers were answered, but now that we've had a taste, we're looking for more. Pondley Hockey, official partner of the Philadelphia Eagles.
Welcome to Pond Lee Hockey. We've helped over 100,000 injured and disabled workers obtain benefits, as well as some of the biggest settlements in the state. If you've been injured at work, give Pond Lee Hockey a call.
Philly sports fans, I'm Tom Giordano from Pond Lee Hockey Giordano. First and foremost, thank you for watching the Pond Lee Hockey postgame show. But right now, we're giving away tickets to the World Series. Follow Pond Lee Hockey on Instagram and check out our posts for your chance to win tickets to all 3 Phillies home games. Go Phillies and go Birds.
Final segment of the program. Barrett Brooks, Rob Ellis. Derek's on his way to Atlantic City to get ready for the pre- and post-game show tonight on JAKIB Sports YouTube network. Eagles taking on the Texans. All right, so let's start there, Barrett. Does this feel like just a roll? The Eagles just hammer them? Like, what's your sense of this thing?
I think so. This should be a roll.
Yeah.
You can't play around with them. You just got to go out there and just totally devastate them from the beginning. Don't play around with them. Don't allow them to have any hope in anything, that they're trying to run. Mm-hmm. Knock them out early so you don't have to worry about it later on. I
like it. I agree. I don't generally like to look at it like this, but I think the Eagles come out and they just boat race them. Like I think they're going to handle them. I think we're into the fourth quarter, much like we were last week with, backups in there. I really think that we're not going to even be seeing Jalen Hurts in the fourth quarter. I think it's that kind of game.
Right. And it should be that way.
Yeah.
That's the way it should be.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, I think they crush them. So feel good about that. What's your sense of the Phillies tonight? You got Syndergaard, your guy starting, then likely into the pen going against Verlander. Series now 2-2 after the Astros win last night.
This is a game in which they should go out there and totally dominate them. But it's going to be closer because we got my guy Syndergaard there. I think we win. It's going to be 5-3, right around there. But we get the victory.
Okay.
We get the victory.
Okay.
And that's kind of along the same lines of what I thought going into this. I thought they would win 2 here and then win the next one in Houston.
Okay.
Game 6.
Okay. All right. Yeah, it's going to be interesting tonight. I feel like somehow, some way, even though it doesn't seem to maybe make a lot of sense right now on paper, I think the Phillies figure out a way to win the game.
Yep.
I do. And it's just kind of been their nature all year to be able to bounce back from tough losses. And that was a tough one last night. So I think they do bounce back, and I think they win the game. So we'll see. And we'll obviously be monitoring both and talking about both tomorrow. They will. So 2 things. One, Brad Lidge is throwing out the first pitch. I said it yesterday.
Oh, get out. Yeah, you said it. Yeah.
And they haven't announced it, but I think he's absolutely going to throw it to Carlos Ruiz. I think he throws it to Chooch. I do.
Wow.
Why wouldn't you? If Chooch is there, he was in the house last night. You got to make that happen. So I think that's going to be the first thing. They're going to wear their powder blues that they have worn from time to time this year, which I think is
powder
cool
blues.
As well. Yeah.
Every time I think of the powder blues, I think about the best third baseman ever, man.
Schmitty.
Was it on Monday? Schmitty came to the office.
Okay.
And they shot a little, thing for him. And they was, making his rounds, introducing everybody. And he comes up to me, and I'm just like, "Hey, how you doing?" "Hey, Barrett, how you doing?" I'm like,
"You knew who you were, huh?"
I'm like, the best third baseman ever. Mike Smith knows who I am. Hey, that's great analysis you have. I'm like, I can't believe he watched me, man.
Oh, that is awesome, man.
It is, man. So, it shocked me, man. I was totally humbled, man. Totally humbled.
That's really cool. Good, man. I like to hear that. That's cool. That is, even though you've been doing it forever, you play in the NFL, you're on TV, etc. There is still like that little kid in you sometimes.
Exactly. And that's what I felt like, man. I felt like, what I'm saying? It was cool. It was
That's
cool.
awesome, man. That's awesome. I love that. All right, so a couple other things. I do want to give props to Major League Baseball and the Phillies crowd and both the Astros and the Phillies players, I thought, did an awesome job with the Stand Up to Cancer tribute, where they were holding a card with one of their relatives' name or friends or whomever who either passed away, unfortunately, or is dealing with cancer. It was a really cool moment of silence in the midst of a madhouse, kind of crowd. Everybody just shut it down. Very well done. Very well done. And I think they raised a lot of money.
Was that Fox? Fox?
Yeah.
It was very, very, very good how they did that.
Yeah, very cool. Very cool. All right, so Sixers go down last night, Barrett, to the Wizards. They lose 121-111. No Embiid again, non-COVID illness. They're 4-5 on the season. A lot of sloppy defense. Got crushed at the free throw line.
It's all coaching, man.
Yeah, it feels like that. Yep. They're all saying afterwards, we're not communicating well, and we're not switching up, and we're not doing that. And like all those signs point to your coach isn't communicating well with you.
It just doesn't make any sense to me that they're playing the way they're playing, man. It just doesn't, it doesn't make any sense to me that this team, with the talent that they have, when you got a young guy, when Maxi's going out there and giving you 32,
yeah,
Harden giving you 24, come on, man, you got to win those type of games, man.
Yeah,
you got to win those type of games.
Even without Embiid, that Wizards team is mediocre at best.
And that's what I thought. I thought Reed was going to give me more, man. Harrell was going to give me more.
Yeah,
they've got to give me more, man.
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree. Look, I think in general, right now it's hard to get a feel for what this team is so far. I know we're only 9 in; it's early, but it's hard to know what the identity is right now of this team.
Right,
from game in and game out. I'm not really sure. I mean, we know Maxey is going to show up every single game, and Harden's been good so far. Although Harden looked a little worn out to me last night. I wonder if he's not headed for a DNP coach's decision or some bogus hamstring injury, or with him, hamstrings are legit.
Just sit his butt down, man.
Sit him down.
You got to just sit. All right, we'll give him a day.
Yeah.
I really want to know what's really wrong with Embiid, though.
Yeah, it just seems like, I don't know, man. Like something's, he's missed the last 2 games with a non-COVID illness, but it also just seems like something's off. Something's not right with him. I don't know if it's health or is just he's not dialed in enough, focused. I don't know.
Well, he better get together fast, man. I mean, the East is nothing to play with now.
No, not in that league, man. Not in that league. That's for sure. They didn't have Melton either last night, which didn't help. Certainly against that team, but they made too many guys who are like Porzingis is not the same player that he was, and they're making him look like the old Porzingis who played in New York,
the
last 2 games, and they got to clean that up. And of course, Bradley Beal did what he was going to do. So anyway, they lose. They're 4-5 on the season. Flyers go down. They've lost now 3 straight. So it feels like they're starting to come back to earth a little bit for who they actually are. And again, I think they've played, to their credit, way above who they are so far. So I'm not, coming down on them, but I think things are starting to even out from a talent standpoint with them right now.
Well, I mean, they got to beat on who this coach is and how he's going to have his guys playing, and eventually the league catches up to you. So
yeah,
that's just nature of how things go.
Yeah, they're still all in all pretty good on the season. They're 5-3-2 altogether with 12 points for 12 points, which ranks them 5th in the Metropolitan, but they're not far behind. I mean, the leader has 14, so they're it's early. It's early, but the good thing is Carter Hart's played pretty well for them so far, and you got to feel good about that. A couple other little odds and ends here I wanted to hit. So Kyrie Irving and the Nets are donating $500,000 to anti-hate causes.
Yeah. Yep.
So he met with the media earlier today. He didn't apologize, but he basically said, look, that all I did was promote something. I don't believe in all of it. I don't want to get into the whole gist of it. There's always something going on with that franchise, man, whether it's the coach, whether it's Durant's not happy, whether it's Kyrie. I don't know that all of a sudden things are going to turn around for them. And I don't see how they can ultimately come out of the East because there's just always something else besides basketball happening there.
It's I mean I don't have a problem with anybody using their platform and standing by their platform, but you don't stand in your platform if it's hurting people though. See, that's the only problem that I have.
Yeah.
If it's something that's going to hurt people, then then how good is your platform and what you're standing on if you're hurting somebody? So
yeah, and again, Kyrie, there's always stuff happening. Who knows where that heads. All right, so let's do some birthdays, and then I want to swing it back here to the birds.
It's a lot of birthdays, man.
There are a lot of birthdays. Actually, it's a pretty good birthday day today. And movies aren't bad either.
Yep.
The Fonz himself, the man, Henry Winkler, is 77. How's the Fonz 77, man?
Right.
So he's 77 years old. Kendall Jenner is 27 years old today. Colin Kaepernick is 35 years old today.
Wow. Okay.
Dolph Lundgren, who
Rocky. You got Rocky.
Drago, exactly.
Yep, Ivan Drago.
He's 65, man. Larry Holmes from Easton, PA, the Easton Assassin, is 73 years old.
Wow.
Today. Adam Ant, the singer of Goody Two Shoes, is 68.
Don't drink, don't smoke.
Yes. he was like a two-hit wonder in the 80s.
Yeah.
He's 68. Matt LaFleur, the coach of the Packers, is 43 today.
He's only 43 years old.
Yeah, young guy, right?
Yeah.
Phil Simms is 68 years old. Phil Simms, former Giants quarterback. Yep. Kate Capshaw, who's married to Steven Spielberg, actress, is 69 years old. Tyler Hansborough is 37 years old, a former Carolina Tar Heel and NBA player. Dennis Miller, the comedian actor, is 69 years old. I have a good on this date, but do you have any other birthdays you wanted to get to? Because
you missed a whole lot of birthdays.
Okay, go ahead.
Actually, it's Kenny Galladay's birthday. He's 28.
Giants receiver.
Yeah, my boy Lamar Woodley, former Steeler.
Oh yeah,
he's 37. Damian Woody. He's 44, and then former Eagle Carlos Dansby, 40 years old.
Oh, okay. Yep.
Division Greg Townsend is 60. I don't know if you remember Mel Farr back in the day.
Yeah.
He was born on this date. And then there's a couple of singers like Ella May. Ella May's, I love her music.
Yeah.
She's 27.
Okay.
And then there's one more. Oh, reality star. Jocelyn Hernandez. If you knew reality stars, Jocelyn was like from down in Atlanta. She's like picked on everybody and everything else. She's like
okay.
Terrible person, but yeah.
Like a real housewife type.
Yeah.
Okay.
You got Roseanne Barr.
Roseanne
Barr is 69.
Okay.
And I think that's about it.
All right.
That's enough.
That's enough. That's a lot. All right. This just in from Adrian Wojnarowski. James Harden suffered a right foot tendon strain, is expected to miss a month. Whoa.
What?
Harden's out a month.
Wow.
Woj. Yeah, man. How about that?
Ridiculous.
Wow. Okay.
Ridiculous.
He went down a couple times last night and he was slow to get up. One time he went to the locker room and then he came back. To his credit. Harden is a guy who wants to play. I'll give him that. And he wants to play a lot of minutes. But it looked like something was bothering him and something was off. So I wonder if he was just sucking it up and getting through the rest of the game and playing with that thing.
That's absolutely what it did, what it looks like.
Man, a month. This is, you can't keep doing this thing with Embiid then, where he's hardly playing. So that,
I mean, this could actually help the Sixers get into the mode where, this is life as we go forward.
Sure.
Tyrese Maxey, step up.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna have to have guys step up. Tobias Harris going to step up. Shea, you got to give me more than 5 points.
Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe this, transition basketball, maybe they get things going.
Yeah.
Maybe this amps it up, shows who they can be.
Yeah, that's the thing. I don't know. Like you might be right. because Harden definitely slows things down and
Right.
is a guy who just controls the ball so much that nobody else really, certainly he can pass, but I do wonder what this looks like because you still have Embiid who's not super fast either.
Right.
In terms of being, a team that can pick up the pace a little bit. But yeah, it's a big blow. I mean, one of the biggest things going into the season was you got to keep Harden healthy. And we were, you're more worried about the hamstrings, but this is a foot strain, a tendon.
Right.
So it's something they're going to have to be careful with, that's for sure. Moving forward, the 4-5 start, according to Woj, they're going to turn to Joel Embiid to carry a massive load for an undermanned team. Certainly put more on the shoulders of Tyrese Maxey, which we just talked about. So that's absolutely going to happen. So it's interesting. All right. So we'll and we get any more word on that, we'll keep you posted. On this date, Barrett, speaking of the NBA, on this date, 26 years ago, 1996, Kobe Bryant makes his debut for the Lakers.
Wow.
Yeah.
1996.
Yep. He was still 17 at the time when he made his debut. Isn't that wild? It is wild, man.
Wow. We did not know. Did we know? We did not know.
How about Charlotte drafted him and traded him to the Lakers for Vlade Divac and I forget what else. I mean, one of the all-time great Jerry West moves, ever. So crazy. All right. On this date with movies, 1976, the original Carrie, which is a very scary movie.
Carrie, yeah, man. Come on.
That's a really good one. Borat. On this date in 2006, Sacha Baron Cohen. 1971, Fiddler on the Roof, and 1955.
Iconic.
Yeah, iconic. Sort of Guys and Dolls, 1955. That's another one. Still do plays all the time with that, high schools and all that other stuff. So a couple of movies, a couple little odds and ends from a movie standpoint. All right, I want to ask you, I was looking forward. I'm going to do this. The Eagles can't do it, but we can do it. Looking forward to the Eagles schedule after they have the time away, from tonight's game. So they play Monday night against Washington. And I think Washington is a little bit more dangerous now than they would have been had Carson still been playing. But then they go to the Colts, who are a full-fledged mess. Green Bay, who's a mess. Then they get on week 13, Tennessee, who's playing much better, but I'm still not sold on that either.
Right. Do you think they go back to their other quarterback, or do they keep with the rookie?
The way that Reich laid it out, he said that we're making the move to Sam Ehlinger, and this is going to be for the rest of the year. He said that. So you better hope he can play. If this looks really bad,
this is his first year playing, but he was a rookie last year. But this Ehlinger, at Texas, was a pretty good quarterback. He held his own, but that's just kind of damning for Nick also. You know what I mean?
Yeah, is it a matter of, because I haven't followed them as closely this year, but they were supposed to have one of the better offensive lines going into the season.
I thought they did until now.
So I'm wondering if they want someone. Ellinger's a little bit more mobile. Nick is for all his good traits, he's a statue. Do they feel like he'll get killed if he's in there?
More than likely.
Yeah. And they're trying to find out if Ehlinger can play because he's young.
Yep. As they go forward, man, I mean, I can't believe we got a first-round pick from him, finessed them with that, a second-rounder, and their quarterback that Carson Wentz is gone even from there.
Yep.
And they expect this head coach to be able to pull a rabbit out of his hat.
Yeah, I can't imagine that there's not going to be major turnover there with the Colts.
Right.
At the end of the year. I think you're going to be looking at a new coach, a new GM. They're going to draft a quarterback. I think there's going to be a lot of movement there. With
Absolutely.
That team. So looking at it, I think, geez, man, I would say the biggest concern for me, I can't look past Green Bay yet. I'm not ready to go there yet. I want to see what they look like in week 12. So I'm going to have Green Bay on the radar that Sunday night. And then it's going to be Tennessee as far as games that really scare me. But that's not until week 13.
That's December 4th, right?
Yeah, that's December 4th.
Yeah, December
Tennessee.
4th. All right, tonight will be a win for sure.
Yeah.
The Commanders, with Tyler Heineke, that can go either way. I like Tyler Heineke because he just runs the offense the way it's supposed to be run. He hands the ball off. He doesn't do anything drastic that make it eye-popping, but somehow he's winning these games.
Yeah, he's scrappy. He's scrappy. You know, he's not what you would call a pure passer. He's not a huge run threat. He can kind of combine everything. I think what you're seeing is that team's got some weapons, and he's not that far away. Chase Young's not that far away defensively.
Right. That's
he's activated and he's starting to practice, so he's going to be up pretty soon, maybe within a couple of weeks.
So a couple of weeks, that's a couple of weeks is the Commanders playing the Eagles.
Mm-hmm.
So that's next week, but still, you know what I mean. That's gonna be a game right there.
So realistically, for you, where's that first loss?
Like you, I'm still looking at that Packers game.
Yeah,
it's in our stadium, and that's our saving grace. It's in our stadium. If we can get after A-Rod a little bit, he'll get back at that funky little attitude that he has.
True.
And we could beat up on him. But if we run the ball on him, keep the ball out of his hands.
Well, I look at like Green Bay here, Tennessee here, at the Giants. I'm not worried about the Bears, but then you're at the Cowboys on the back end of a 3 straight. That's where I think there could be a couple of losses.
Christmas Eve game.
Yeah, tough game.
In their place.
Yep. A revenge.
Pollard
having beaten them earlier in the year without Prescott.
Yep, and Pollard really becoming that forced, and they don't, they're not trying to force the ball to get to and Zeke. Yep. I think that's a mixture. That's a good mixture of them coming back and wanting to play.
Mm-hmm.
But you're right. I mean, I think Green Bay. I'm not so worried about the Texans though. I know. I mean, I truly believe Malik Willis will still be at the quarterback.
Titans. Yeah.
I mean, the Titans. I'm sorry, the Titans. I don't believe that they're. I don't believe Tennessee will have everything together by the time they beat us. They come to play us.
Yeah, I just wonder if they're going to have enough. Look, if the Eagles can even do a decent job containing, not shutting down, but containing Derrick Henry. I don't love Tennessee's passing game. I don't love if it's Tannehill or it's Willis or whatever. Right. I don't think they have good weapons either.
And that's weak. Right. He's not going to be back by that time. The big fella, Davis, is not going to be back by that time.
No, not likely. No. I mean, let me see the timeline there. So if he might. So at that point, he got hurt this past week, which is October 30th. That game is December 4th. He might. It's going to be tight. That's about the 5th week. So if you think it's 6 weeks, he's not going to be back for sure. But
right.
Yeah, maybe. They're going to have to look. You can't have Derrick Henry ripping off 6-7 yards per carry on you.
Yes.
And that's been.
And you got to tackle, man. Just like you're tackling, it'll be the key. You got to tackle. You got to come up and meet force with him, or he'll just run you over. No
doubt. So that's something they're going to have to clean up. But look, I think there's at least 2 losses on this schedule, at least 2, maybe 3.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just, I don't know.
But you're still talking about,
that's a 15-2 season.
15, yeah, what I mean?
It's incredible. And the beauty is that's going to get you home field advantage throughout the up until the Super Bowl, which is in Arizona. That's going to get you home field advantage, which we know what a big difference that makes in this city. We've seen it with the Phillies through this run.
Huge.
And you're going to have a team that, we have it. I guess the last playoff game was that Seattle game where Wentz got concussed right away and they lost. But, this, I don't know if people had the faith in that team that they would have in this team going to play.
No,
I think this atmosphere would be nuts because there's going to be high expectations.
Huge. In fact, we almost won that game because remember the backup quarterback, what's his name?
McCown.
McCown almost brought us back, and he had did something to his knee.
That's right. Oh no, he tore his hamstring. Didn't he completely from the bone or his groin or something? Yeah. Oh my God.
And still almost won the game. Almost came back.
It wasn't over. I mean, it wasn't like they fought back in that game. But yeah, I mean, I think the expectations are high. Good. I said earlier, I think it's a good thing that you have guys in your division chasing you very closely. Throw the Vikings in there in your conference. That's good. I think you always run a little bit faster when you're being chased as opposed to having your giant lead where you lose some of that concentration. So I think it's a big thing.
Can't wait.
All right, give me some predictions tonight. Miles Sanders yards.
$130.
Okay. I was going to go air pretty conservative too, like $140, because I think he's out of the game and they're mixing and matching a little bit. But
Right.
Good number. Okay. Jalen Hurts passing touchdowns.
I still think he has two. He has one passing touchdown and one running touchdown.
Run, pass. So he gets 2 total. Okay.
Yep, 2 total touchdowns.
Takeaways.
Well, they're gonna be running the ball for the most part. So I don't think that Davis Mills is gonna be putting the ball in the air enough. We should see this stat. Will this be one of the shortest games of the year?
All right, does it get play? It's hard to play an NFL game in under 3 hours. All right, is the game? If I gave you 2 hours and 52 minutes, over under.
I'm going with the under.
Okay, I like it. All right, Jalen Hurts passing attempts. 17.
I was gonna go 21, so I'm going with the over, but I'm going 21. I think they go 21 passing attempts.
Okay,
and that's just because they're gonna be trying to work on stuff that they need to work on. That's why.
All right. Eagles sacks. I'm going to set the line at 5.5.
Over.
Wow.
Over.
2 straight weeks.
Yes, over. Right at 7.5.
Okay, I like that. All right, what's your final score?
30. I'm going 34. 34-12. No, 34. Yeah, 34-12. Eagles just blow them out.
Okay. I think the Texans get a late one, which is garbage, to make it 13. I think it's a 34-13. We're close in our scores.
34-13. And guys like Zach Pascal gets him another one.
Yeah, gets a little
Quez
love.
gets him one.
Kenny Gainwell gets some
Yeah.
All right, I like it. All right, Phillies prediction. I think they win. I somehow
I'm going 5-3.
Okay.
Phillies win.
I like it. I'll go 6-4. Phillies win. All right. So we're back at it tomorrow. Same time. We'll recap everything on what's going to be a busy night, man. That's for sure. We got Eagles, we got Phillies, got everything, but we'll have you covered tomorrow at noon. Want to thank Xander Krause producing the program. Of course, each and every one of you in the chat room. We appreciate you, everybody listening, everybody streaming. Don't go anywhere. We got Dan Cilio with the National Football Show. For Barrett, for Derek, who is en route to the pre and post game show down at Ocean Casino Resort.
Football game tonight.
I am Rob. We will see you guys tomorrow, same time. Have a great night, everybody. Thanks for hanging with us.
Philly sports fans, I'm Tom Giordano from Ponley Hockey Giordano. First and foremost, thank you for watching the Ponley Hockey postgame show. But right now, we're giving away tickets to the World Series. Follow Ponley Hockey on Instagram and check out our posts for your chance to win tickets to all 3 Phillies home games. Go Phillies and go Birds.
Welcome to Pondley Hockey, the largest workers' compensation law firm in Pennsylvania. With over 250 years of combined courtroom experience, we've helped over 100,000 injured and disabled workers obtain benefits, as well as some of the biggest settlements in the state. Even better, Pondley Hockey doesn't charge a dime until you win. If you've been injured at work, give Pondley Hockey a call.
Go to get your game on. Go for the beers. Go for the cheers. Go for the hit and the hits. Go for the stakes and the stakes. Go to get your parlay on. Go to get your party on. Go for the scene. Go for the screens. Go for the gallery. Go for the win. Go to Ocean. Visit theoceanac.com to plan your visit.
It's a fall car fest, and Jeff D'Ambrosio, Destination Downingtown, says yes, you can. Jeff says yes, you can choose from over 1,000 vehicles in stock with no wait. Yes, you can still get low prices, leases, and big discounts. Yes, you can still get low interest financing. And Jeff always says yes, you can have a real deal buying experience without the hassle. When the other dealers say no, you can't, Jeff says yes, you can. Jeff D'Ambrosio, Destination Downingtown. Nobody treats you better.